Hello everyone, welcome to a very, very important stream. We're back on the screen again. I got this game many years ago, I think in 2021, and I played through it very slowly. I got through the first game and I never played the second one, and I was going to. But then after playing the second Detective Pikachu game, I had a strong urge to stream the Ace Attorney games, and I streamed them all, every single one of them. Hey Zara, what's up? And I streamed them all, and now we finally arrived here. At long last, I will be playing The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Never seen it, never played it before. I'm going in completely blind, and it should be fun. This is a big thing in the making, and I'm excited for it. But yeah, what's up, Zero? How goes your stuff, and how goes you? Hope you're doing good. New game, guys. Hey, Captain Gyps, you're first in a different way. Let's see how the second game goes, huh? Hey. Susato. Uh-oh.
Standing here in the bright sunshine, looking out over the vast ocean. Those days in London seem like a dream. But I do miss my time in England's vast capital.
Looks like we're in Japan.
You know, he's flourished into a truly wonderful lawyer. I've no doubt that at this very moment, he's fighting some noble cause in court. Forgive me for taking so long to come to visit you. My life has been such a whirlwind since I returned. And no one could have predicted what has happened. Just 2 months after arriving home.
Oh dear.
So I came here today to ask something of you. Tomorrow,
Hey, Nicholas.
I shall be standing in court. For the only time in my life. As a lawyer.
She will be in court? She'll be a lawyer? Oh dear.
So please.
Wait,
I ask for your guidance.
the Swan Lady's dead?
Kazuma-sama.
It's 3 a.m. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Nicholas, that's early in the morning. Episode 1, The Adventure of the Blossoming Attorney. Okay. Okay, guys. Hey, Hedgewolf. Welcome to the stream as well. It's good to see you here. Welcome to the one game I haven't played yet of Ace Attorneys. Oh, it's August. Here I am again, after 9 months, the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. I feel so nervous, but I must steel my nerves and find a way to compose myself. I'm doing good, Hedgewolf. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm excited. And I'm ready. Ah, good, you're here. It doesn't do for a lawyer to be late. Oh, yes, good morning, sir. I hardly recognize you. You cut a fine figure, counsel. But you look as white as a sheet, and those wide eyes aren't doing you any favors either. Oh dear. How was Hollow Knight today, Hedgewolf? The truth is, I'm so incredibly nervous, I feel utterly nauseated. I almost wish that I'd never been born. Goodness, not the sort of thing a father hopes to hear from his daughter, I must say. Yujin Mikotoba, professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. A man who earlier in his life traveled to Great Britain, studied the latest of advances in forensics medical science. And of course, my brilliant father. Excuse me? Who's this? defendant person. Would I be correct in thinking that you're to be my lawyer in court today? Oh, yes. Yes, that's right, miss. Well, I want to thank you for agreeing to represent me. I swear on my life. It's a complete fabrication. The whole thing. Ray Membani, born the same year as I and my greatest friend. Though unusual for a woman in our time, she works at the University Research Laboratory, helping my father, and sadly, she's the defendant in today's trial. Accused of committed a truly awful murder. Of course. Are you feeling alright? Since we started talking, you seem, well, to have become a little flushed. Oh my, it's just that... You look so gallant and dashing. Sorry? And when I fall under your intense gaze, it makes me feel rather bashful. Murder! It's another murder! Goodness, I don't think she knows. She hasn't realized who I am. Wahahaha. It would seem our little plan for this trial is going to work. Oh, what do you mean? Professor Mikotoba? If even your best friend can't see through the disguise, I think we can relax. Disguise? Yes, I've never tried dressing this way before, of course, so I wasn't sure how convincing it would be. But this does make me feel a little relieved, as you say, Father. Father? What? Is that you, Susato? I'm so sorry I didn't say something sooner, Ray. It's just that... No! What are you doing? What's going on? What? That varsity uniform, the varsity cap, the varsity cape, the varsity badge. Look at you. You look for all the world just like a student of the Imperial Yume University. A male student. I'm glad that you think so. It means all my preparations have been worthwhile. I woke at 4 in the morning to make a start. But I don't understand. Why are you dressed like that? Well, you see, it was the only way. The only way she would be permitted into the Supreme Court to take on your defense in this trial. My defense? Must be glasses, maybe. Never before in my life have I felt so frustrated at having been born into this body. Courts in Japan are barred to women. We're not even allowed to set foot inside the courtroom, despite the fact that the laws of the land apply to all people, male and female, alike. She stepped out in black. This is gonna be awesome. I know, good start already. Kind of good start. The fact that Japan was like this back in the day, though, was not a good start. But women are forbidden. Just for today, I'll be leaving my true self at the courtroom door, so that I can act as your lawyer. The ultimate disguise, all black. Oh, Susato, you'd go to such lengths for me? Of course, you're my greatest friend. I just worry that I shan't be the lawyer you deserve. Oh no, I have complete faith in you, Ray. Excuse me. It's so strange, though. I mean, you're such an accomplished judicial assistant already, and yet just because you're a woman... What a wretched reason. I mean, why shouldn't you be allowed in court? You're so gallant and dashing. Japan has never had a high opinion of women right up to today. Damn. Not cool, Japan. Does she have a mustache? No idea. We'll have to see. Please don't look at me like that, with those flushed cheeks and doting eyes. Oh, I'm sorry. It's just... You really do look so dashing. Yes, you mentioned that once or twice. Wahahaha. You should be pleased. It means you look convincing as a man. I am pleased, I think. It certainly helped to bolster my confidence today. Ray, you're managing to put on a brave face in all this, but I can see through it. I've noticed how your shoulders are slumped and how you're trembling ever so slightly. 3 years. That's a long time, Nicholas. Woo! And Minim's here too. What's up? Susato, you do believe me, don't you? I didn't do it. I couldn't have. I mean, murder. Of course. You have nothing to worry about. Your conscience is perfectly clean. Isn't that right? Yes. Yes, it is. Perfectly clean. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind about your innocence, which is why I'll stand by you until the bitter end in this trial. Whatever happens, I'll always be on your side, because that is what it means to be a defense lawyer. That means so much to me, Susato.
Defendant, counsel, court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once.
You should go in at once, Ray. If you're late, the judge won't hesitate to pronounce you guilty. Oh. I'm surprised one of the bailiffs isn't saying, or one of the people there are saying, why is this lady still here? She should be in the kitchen. Oh boy, if someone said that, I would flip my lid. Seems stuff has escalated after her return. Yeah, a little bit. Stand aside! I don't think I've ever seen her run so fast. Well, Susato, you've certainly surprised your father, going to such lengths to be admitted into the courtroom and with no prior experience of being a lawyer. There was simply no other way. That's all there is to it. But Father, you haven't told her, have you? I mean, I'm right in assuming that Ray doesn't know how it came to this? Yes, quite right. I kept the information from her. It would only worry her if she found out that no other lawyer would agree to take her case. I didn't want to burden her with that. And is it true? The reason why every other lawyer is refusing to take the case? Is it really because of who the victim was? We should be making a move now, too. As you know, law isn't my field, but I'll do what I can to support my student. Thank you, Father. I'm Susato Mikatoba, a judicial assistant. 8 months ago, I accompanied a student of law on a study trip to Great Britain, but 2 months ago, due to unforeseen circumstances, I found myself back in Japan. How many times have I wished that he were here, I wonder. Still, I have no choice now but to steel myself for the trial ahead. Wish me luck, Naruhodo-san. Here we go! I may ask for help during this, by the way, in case I'm clueless. Everyone in chat, pay attention. We're gonna work together to beat this game. Oh, look who's back. This court is now in session to hear the trial of Ray Membani. The prosecution is fully ready to proceed, Your Excellency. It's me again. It's the whip. Oh, there she is. Defense counsel, are you ready? Yes, Your Excellency, we are ready. 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 Yes, counsel. According to your registration details, your name is, Ryutaro Naruhodo, is that correct? Sorry? Oh yes, I had to come up with a suitable male name for this little venture. So I'm afraid to say I simply put down the first name that sprung to mind. Well, counsel? Yes, that's right. That's me. Yes, I am Ryutaro, he who has vowed to uphold the pride of the great Naruhodo clan. Ah. It seems Ryutaro may need to consider how better to uphold his manly act first and not overdo it. And those wild, wide eyes are not doing you any favors either. Just relax and listen. She does look good in the male uniform. Not bad, Susato, not bad. Naruhodo? A fresh face in this courtroom, if I'm not mistaken. But the name Naruhodo, would that perchance be? You may be thinking of Ryunosuke Naruhodo, currently in Britain as part of a study program. That is, his cousin. That's right, Ryutaro here has been studying in the provinces, but was called to the capital for this trial. I assure you, in matters of law, his knowledge rivals that of any Tokyo's preeminent lawyers. Any of them. Tut, tut, tut. What a pitiful situation. Having been rejected by every lawyer in the capital, the accused has to call in a country boy. How dare you! Susato is every bit as gallant as dashing as any of your Tokyo attorneys. I won't have you making fun of her. Hey? Oh, Please be careful, Ray. Well, we're in trouble. The Taro means second born, so she's playing Ryunosuke's second brother. Or cousin. Or second brother. Yep, that's pretty cool. What an unrefined tomboy we have here. But I wonder, is our gallant and dashing lawyer up to the challenge of defending you? His wide, skittish eyes very much suggest that he is not. I'm so nervous. Now that I'm standing here, A-stars! Thank you for the raid! Welcome to the stream, it's good to see ya. Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand what Naruhodo-san goes through. Like it or not, my eyes are wont to flit. Thank you. Objection, it's a stars raid. Thanks a lot for the raid. I appreciate ya. Can someone do a shout out for stars? Shout out stars over Hyrule. I hope your game was good. Your Legend of Zeldas. You're just in time for this game I've never played before, stars. This case is to be heard on this day as a matter of great significance to our national interests. In fact, it would be reasonable to assume that the outcome of this trial may well affect the very future of our empire. Just like the trial 9 months ago. Yep, starting Echoes of Wisdom. Always a fun game. I like that one. I hope you did well. And yet for proceedings of such importance, we have this unknown yokel by the dock? Dear me. Perhaps this would be an appropriate moment for me to assess the defense. To determine whether you are sufficiently competent to practice in this courtroom. 9 months ago, when a certain other Naruhodo stood where you're standing now, this same judge tested him as well. And even though he was just a student at the time, not even of law, he passed the test with flying colors. For a trained and experienced judicial assistant like you, this will be easy. So, counsel, do you consent to answering some simple questions? Alright, it's time to prove myself. Yes, Your Excellency, but please make them simple. Very well. To start with, what is my name? You will state the name of the victim. Whew, that is simple. I couldn't forget that if I tried. Ah! What's the matter? Now that I'm standing in his shoes, I'm starting to understand something else Naruhodo-san goes through. Our first location, and he started figuring out echoes. Ooh, nice. Hopefully you can use them in many crazy ways. I gotta stop by and watch sometime. Like it or not, my minds are wont to blank. It's not surprising, really. It's your first time in this position, and, in that guise, even a bright spark like you is bound to flicker and falter a little under the circumstances. Oh dear, this is a dismal failure. Don't fret. You need only use the knowledge you've gained as a judicial assistant to overcome the problem. Of course, the court record. Yes, the answer will be amongst all the key information about the case in the court record. That's right, just use the R to open the court record. Then you need to flip to the People section with R. And don't take too long over it. His Excellency is watching you closely. Alright, check the court record with R. That's where the information I need will be. So, here's the post-mortem report. Victim, Giselle Brett, female, British. Time of death, 11th of August at 2 p.m. Ascertained by examination and witness statements. Cause of death, single stab wound from behind pierced a lung, and resulting in a fatal hemorrhage. Death would have occurred within minutes. Extreme meiosis pupil constriction was observed in the victim in both eyes. Tutorials! We all love tutorials, right? Giselle Brett. So, the first murderer is here. The first murderer in the first game of the Great Ace Attorney is dead now. Welp! Meiosis suggests the poor girl got flashed. What does that mean, flashed in this instance? Like, did someone lift up her skirt and showed her, yeah, what does that mean? I'm waiting, counsel. What is the name of the victim in this case? That would be Eugen Mikotoba, guys. Yes. Mm-hmm. No, it's her.
Yes!
If it's British woman, then maybe the opera glasses wear sunglasses? Who knows? The name of the victim who lost her life in this case is Miss Giselle Brett. Flashed as in hit with a bright light? Like, hit in the face with a bright light, or... Details. Details, please. Giselle Brett. A name that will never be forgotten in the courtrooms of our country, I'm sure. Correct. And in being a member of our empire's judiciary, you will be well aware of the significance of that name. So, let me pose another simple question. As you know, Miss Brett was a visiting student from the Empire of Great Britain. Why, then, is her name indelibly associated with our own empire's judicial history? Obviously, you won't have forgotten that case from 9 months ago, but if it's proving hard to recall the finer points, everything you need is included in the court record. Obviously, I still remember. It was the start of everything. Giselle Brett, behind the woman student persona, was the face of a victim, a queen, a killer. Is the court record gonna show? No. Alright. But, yeah, she killed a person.
Yes!
9 months ago, a visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University was killed, and the culprit was Giselle Brett. Yes, she was a killer. At the time, our country had just signed a new treaty with the Empire of Great Britain, and it was in the midst of this delicate diplomatic situation that the incident occurred. An Englishman, Dr. John H. Wilson, was shot dead. I believe he was an associate of yours, Professor Mikotoba. Yes, I was indebted to the man. He's been my mentor when I went to London to study forensics medicine. Indeed, it was I who invited him here to Japan as a visiting professor at the university. Naturally, the murder of an Englishman on our soil was a matter of government wish to resolve rapidly. Indeed it was, which is why a secret trial was conducted here in the Supreme Court. A student of the Imperial Yume University was arrested on suspicion of murder. A second-year English language student by the name of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. With the help of his best friend, a student lawyer, the accused conducted his own defense and exposed the despicable crime committed by Miss Giselle Brett. What about her swan, though? Is her swan okay? Miss Brett eventually admitted to her crime. However, when questioned about the motive that drove her to take Dr. Wilson's life, she gave no satisfactory answer before the trial reached its conclusion. Immediately after the trial, the British government brought its consular jurisdiction into play. We were unable to sentence Miss Brett according to our empire's laws. It was decided that she would be removed to Shanghai, China instead. Why Shanghai? There's a British consular court there. Correct. I oversaw the negotiations personally. The date of her transfer to Shanghai was finally settled upon only last week. All that remained of our empire's obligations was to see the woman safely on board a steamship. And yet, the very day before her departure, the Englishwoman was killed. Hey, I hope the swan deserves better. I know, I hope the swan's fine. Hey, Star Hero. What's up, Ultima? How you doing today? It's good to see you here. Welcome to the Ace, the Great Ace Attorneys. But how have you been, though? Only the day before? You're doing well? That will do. I'm satisfied that the counsel for the defense is sufficiently capable of representing the defendant. Oh. Thank you, Your Excellency. Over the first hurdle. Now, a summary of the incident, if you please. Prosecutor Ouchie? Been writing papers, you graduate in 3 weeks. Oh my gosh, graduate in 3 weeks. How excited are you, Star Hero? You're almost done with the schools.
As you wish, Your Excellency. The repugnant crime took place on the 11th of August in broad daylight.
Ooh.
On the outskirts of the imperial capital under a bright blue sky at a secluded bathing spot by the sea. The incident occurred inside a small beach hut erected for bathers to rest or change their clothes.
Yeah, congrats when the time happens.
The cause of death was a single stab wound to the posterior abdomen that pierced the victim's lung, an injury which proved fatal. There were 2 persons alone together in the beach hut at the time of the victim's death, Miss Brett in her bathing attire, and the accused, Ray Membani. Accordingly, there can be no doubt of the accused's guilt, especially when we consider that she had a powerful motive. The police arrived rapidly at the scene and promptly arrested the young lady.
Well, that extraordinary description of events leaves me somewhat lost for words, I must say.
That's certainly true. The prosecution's summary was full of words that raise an awful lot of questions. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about,
powerful motive. That was a lot.
You're clearly exaggerating. Powerful motive is a blatant overstatement. Tut, is the yokel boy using long words he doesn't fully understand? I beg your pardon. No matter. Let us put this to the accused, shall we? Membani-san, you are a research student at the Imperial Yume University, I believe. Yes, I am. I'm working with Professor Mikotoba in his laboratory at the moment.
I can confirm that. The defendant is an excellent assistant with a strong sense of responsibility.
Fascinating to hear. Now, another question. Prior to your work with Professor Mikotoba, whose research were you assisting then? Oh, well, I was studying under Dr. John H. Wilson.
Dr. Wilson? The visiting English professor who was murdered by Miss Brett 9 months ago? Oh boy.
The accused has a deep-seated respect for her former mentor, Dr. Wilson. Is that not true? Yes, Dr. Wilson was a wonderful man. Interesting. Then tell the court what deep-seated feelings you had toward the English woman who killed him. Well, obviously I was filled with hatred for what she'd done. A powerful hatred. Oh no, Ray, be careful of what you're saying. Ah! The motive was revenge, plain and simple, Your Excellency.
Well, it was clearly a trap all along.
How wicked of him to use Ray's undying respect for her former mentor against her like that. I must find out more details and something we can use to bolster our defense. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution counsel on what he said about...
being alone together.
Hey, Blue Thunder! Good to see you too. Welcome to the Great Ace Attorneys. How you doing today? Membani-san? Yes, what is it, Susato? I mean, Naruhodo-san? I'm really starting to wish we'd make my alias Ryutaro Susato. Please tell the court why exactly you were present at the bathing spot with the victim in the first place.
You're okay? Heck yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Are you ready, Blue Thunder, for some Ace Attorneys? 'Cause I am!
And why were you alone with her? Oh, well, no, that's not true. It wasn't like that at all. There were other people present, a detective who was guarding Miss Brett for starters. I was just asked to accompany Miss Brett as a companion, that's all. But let us be clear. At the moment of her death, you were alone together with the victim in the hut. You and no one else. The truth is, there is only one reason why this young woman accompanied Miss Brett in our bathing sojourn. It was the accuser's last chance to take the victim's life. No! Because, as we know, the following day would see Miss Brett extradited to the British authorities in Shanghai. And the accused would never have an opportunity to dispatch her again.
I'm doing well, Blue Thunder. Today was a very chill day. Very good.
Kindly refrain from conjecture, Counsel. Tis,
The prosecution counsel seems to enjoy using provocative tricks like that.
But for now, at least, we need to assemble more facts. Try not to let him goad you. Oh dear, this is really terrifying. But Father's right, we need more information. As a lawyer, I really ought to pick up the prosecution as counsel as to what he said about
the bathing spot.
If I may, Prosecutor Ouchie. What do you want, you fresh-faced young yokel student?
You're planning Final Fantasy X. Ooh, that's a fun one. I wish you luck with it.
I wonder, could you explain, please? You mentioned a bathing spot. My apologies. Clearly my modernity has confused the poor country bumpkin's simple mind. Bathing spots are the very latest trend in health practices and from the West. We are told that bathing in the water of the ocean is curative, therapeutic, and excellent for the skins. No, that's not what I meant. I was referring to the fact that Miss Brett had, to all intents and purposes, been found guilty of murder. Why would a known criminal have been relaxing by the sea? For old time's sake, I believe. Sorry? Miss Brett was to depart for Shanghai the following day.
Same to you. Thanks.
Her final wish, as it were, was to enjoy a day at her country's wonderful coast. As the British Embassy put extreme pressure on our government to comply. But on what grounds would we agree to such a request?
Because, as usual, our government is unable to stand up to foreign powers. In matters of diplomacy, it seems we don't even have the courage to decline the whims of a known criminal.
Don't look at me, Professor. It was the government who granted permission, not I. In any case, it was decided that with a dedicated detective on duty, nothing could go wrong. But, in fact, a murder took place. I said, don't look at me. It was the young student girl who did it, not I.
No one has proved that yet. I wouldn't provoke the man if you don't need to. So who do you think the murderer is, by the way, guys? I think we've seen every person so far. I think it was him. I believe we all have a clear picture of the incident now. Despite her guilt being determined 9 months ago, Miss Brett managed to avoid incarceration, instead continuing her research work at the university. Obviously, over the period, she and Ray would have encountered each other on a number of occasions. Wimp. It's the wimp. What's the crime? The lady from the first case was killed. The murderer from the first case was killed, being stabbed in the back. Blue Thunder, this is Ace Attorney. The crime is always murder. Except for the fourth case of the last game. That was not murder. Seeing the murderer of the mentor for whom she had such great respect enjoying such undeserved liberty. Yes, even if it were only temporary until Miss Brett's extradition to Shanghai. You can hardly blame Ray for her feelings of anger and resentment. Poor Ray.
So, Your Excellency, if you'd be so kind as to peruse this exhibit, a photographic print that shows the scene of the crime immediately following the grim incident. Good night. Good night, madame. See you tomorrow.
Oh no, the swan! Yes, thank you, Counsel. A tragic image. As you can clearly see, there is nowhere within the hut that anyone else could have hidden. Can the swan testify, guys? The court will accept this photographic print as evidence. As I understand it then, the victim and the defendant were alone inside the beach hut at the time. Let's take a look at this a bit more. What do we see, guys? We have footprints, feathers, mask. Let's zoom in a bit. We have crap in her suitcase, footprints, bottle, more crap here, stool, dress, purse, wine glass that fell. She's holding a pen apparently or something. Her swan is
dead maybe, but I hope not. There's a thing that says magnifying glass. Wait, could I? Oh, look. I can look at the magnifying glass this way. Wow! Okay. Inside that dress would be interesting. Not much light in there. I guess not, huh? The cruelty. Maybe one of the games a parrot did so, maybe? Maybe. Maybe it already happened for all we know. As I understand it... Oh, I read that. This is deeply troubling, I must say. The finger of guilt points firmly at the defendant. Well, Your Excellency, naturally the prosecution has much more to its case. We intended to prove the accused's appalling actions beyond all possible contention. To that end, I can confirm that we have multiple witnesses to the crime and damning evidence. What witnesses? But who? One of whom, I might add, is a highly respected police detective. I assure you, the testimony of these witnesses will leave no room for doubt. Think we might know what had caused the pupil shrinkage? What? The sun? You might want to tell me what this means, because I don't know, and it might help, like, the case if I know basic things. Do we have our gumshoe? Very well, counsel, bring forth your witnesses. I, Takatsuchi Ouchi, have been waiting for this moment. Sorry? Oh yes, I haven't forgotten that trial 9 months ago, here in this very courthouse, when that irritated little student boy utterly humiliated me. Ryunosuke Naruhodo! What? Yes? This insult to the Ouchi family's name will never be forgotten. You become conceited with age, counsel, but the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that. The room she was stabbed in was super dark. She may have gotten blinded by the door opening, causing her pupils to shrink from the sudden exposure. Okay, gotcha. See, I wouldn't have known that eyes do that. Oh my god. Strike the head of a samurai whose top knot has been cut, and the bell of cultural enlightenment tolls. Yes, on that fateful day, my former self died. The start of your own mini Meiji revolution. Are you modernizing as well, counsel? Silence. Since I swore revenge back then, there has been a minor miracle atop my head. Observe the ouchy growth. You see this seed of hope sprouting forth from the barren expanse of my crown? I think that tiny growth is trying to tell me something. I'm afraid I can't really see. Where is the hope exactly? I said silence. Today I face another yokel student of the Naruhodo clan. Well, I will vanquish you, and my victory will be fertilizer for the seed of hope atop my head. You have been warned. His hair is trying to regrow. Trying. With that, the prosecution calls the witnesses to the stand. It looks like the stakes are high on both sides in this trial. The prosecution and the defense each has much to lose. A haircut is hardly comparable to Ray's life. That guy? Him? Two familiar people. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosanaga, Imperial Police Bureau. I'm in disguise, obviously, so I can go undetected. Is that a turtle on his head? And I am, well, the next big thing in books. An author renowned throughout the capital, in fact. Yes. So to be sold out, this hysterical I am cat that sees sensational sensation by Soseki Natsumi. Who's that guy? Oh my goodness! Juggling student from the provinces, please, you needn't be in awe of me. I needn't? He's got a turtle on his head. Yes, he does. It's only natural that you'd feel anxious in my presence, but all of you, please relax. Call me Soseki, even. Yes. What on earth is Soseki-san doing here? Tread carefully, Susato. The author fellow knows you from your time in London, doesn't he? If he exposes you for who you really are,
This will be over before it's begun.
Yes, of course. I know. I presume Soseki-san won't have forgotten about me. I could for certainly never forget him. Although he does seem to have changed somewhat in the 6 months or so that it has been since I last saw him. And as for Inspector Hosanaga, that amazing outfit is hard to believe. Do I have something on my face? Well, your glasses for one, although they don't seem to be helping you see. Thank goodness he hasn't recognized me either. Ah, I suppose it's this disguise, is it? I thought that appearing here in the clothes I was wearing at the time would make for a more faithful testimony. It is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly.
Well, I can appreciate why an Imperial Police Bureau detective might have been present, but what business did a writer such as yourself have being at the scene, Soseki-san?
Well, you see, I had been asked that day to give a lecture, on the morning of the incident in the Imperial Yume University's Grand Lecture Hall, no less.
At Yume University?
After the lecture, I had a very pleasant conversation with a researcher from the Medical Science Department.
The professor over there, in fact?
With Professor Mikatoba?
Yes, that's right. It was arranged by one of the newspapers. They wanted some story or other about 2 former students who studied in Great Britain. Of course, being a renowned author, the press never leaves me alone. They secretly spy, snapshots, scribble stories, and scupper my privacy.
As you can see, the conversation was written up in this newspaper here. Read it at your leisure, my provincial struggling student friend. I have plenty of copies. Thank you very much. Practically threw the paper at me. Alright. Anyway, following my interview with the professor, let's take a look. We have these 2 talking. We have a cat down there. See anything else strange, guys? Not seeing anything strange. I see cracks. Do you see that? There's cracks on the right side of the paper for some reason. And if you look down there, there's someone riding a bike. That is weird. What reliable witness, truly. Oh yeah. Just like he was as a defendant in the last game. There's a crack in the camera lens. Strange. The lady in question appeared and made a very unexpected announcement. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. Those were her words. As I explained before, Miss Brett was never taken into custody. She continued to work in my laboratory, under strict surveillance, of course. At which utterance, the university immediately contacted the government to seek guidance, and the response was, permit Miss Brett to go as long as a detective accompanies her. The detective I am at liberty to divulge was me, Chief Inspector Satoru Hosanaga. Thereby, an entire party departed accordingly for the seaside, it seems. It was extremely challenging to clear all other members of the public from the vicinity of the beach. But fortunately, I am at peak in physical fitness at the moment, so... Yeah, you look it, mate. You're still bleeding from your mouth. I was able to carry out my duty flawlessly. Is that your dad? Who, the next guy? The guy next to Susato? Yeah, that's the other guy. The poor turtle. What about this poor guy? Oh my, Inspector, well, you do have something on your face now. Ah, how unsightly. I do apologize. Does that mean that you went into the beach too, Father? No. Fortunately, I had work to finish off. But unfortunately, of course, it meant that, as my assistant, Ray was invited to take my place. Of course, being a renowned author, I didn't like to decline the invitation.
But if only I had, I'd never have seen that awful sight.
Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret. The other guy in the news article. Yeah, it's, the dude. The father dude person. Very well, I must now ask you to present your formal testimony to the court. You will give an account of all that you witnessed on your impromptu excursion to the coast. Of course, Your Excellency. Relentlessly racked by remorse and regret, I am... Here we go. On the day of the incident, I was ordered on a special surveillance assignment in this disguise. I just managed to catch that crab when I suddenly heard the caterwaul from behind me. I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question.
Yes, that young girl was astride and the Englishwoman dagger in hand as she stabbed wildly.
I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she'd stabbed the victim multiple times. Such healthy blood coughing. Yeah. Isn't that how everyone coughs blood these days? Just all chill-like? Indeed, it does appear from this testimony that both witnesses here present saw it, the very moment of this heinous crime.
What? No, if you will recall, I promised evidence as well. What phrase did I use again? Ah, yes, that was it. Damning evidence.
What have you there, Counsel? A so-called fountain pen, is it?
Correct, Your Excellency. I found it at the scene whilst examining the body. It appears that in her dying moments, with her final ounce of strength, the victim clutched a piece of evidence that would positively identify her killer.
What?
Your Excellency, if you would cast your eyes over the photographic print of the crime scene once more.
Ah, goodness me.
Yes, the victim is clearly grasping something quite deliberately there in her hand.
That's right, the fountain pen.
And if you would kindly examine the pen, Your Excellency. Ah, the owner's initials have been engraved into the ebonite barrel. R.M. Ray Membani, the initials of the defendant. No!
This fountain pen will be admitted immediately as critical evidence.
Okay. So, have I admitted anything?
Maybe. Oh, I can't examine it yet.
Decisive testimony and damning evidence. There's a bright blue sky outside the courthouse today. Perfect weather to ascribe guilt, I feel.
The fountain pen is too easy. Too easy.
I don't understand. The prosecutor Ouchie of 9 months ago had none of this man's poise.
Counsel for the defense, you may begin your cross-examination now. Naruhodo-san!
Naruhodo. That means... Oh, yes, me.
Is there another Naruhodo in my courtroom?
Actually, there isn't even a single Naruhodo in your courtroom.
Cousin Ryutaro, pull yourself together, please.
Alright, I've seen this countless times as a judicial assistant. Find inconsistencies in the witness's testimony to prove that they're lying somehow. That's all there is to it. That's how a real lawyer would handle a cross-examination. So let's see what I can do.
I did not see any obvious contradictions anywhere. So we'll do the old press until something comes up. Let's save right here. We'll save over this one. Made on 7/28/2021. Wow. There we go. Perfect.
Hold it!
Is in that jaunty disguise?
Correct. Wait, no.
I mean, it wasn't the first time I've worn this swimsuit for a dip in the ocean. It's tried and tested. Do what must be done to keep the Englishwoman under surveillance. Those were my orders that day. And this tried and tested outfit was the answer? Being able to blend flawlessly into a crowd is an important part of a detective's job. I submerged myself in the salty water, leaving only Mr. Turtle floating inconspicuously on the surface. Mr. Turtle loves water. But there was no need for you to blend into the background on this assignment, really. Was there? If that made you late arriving at the scene, I think perhaps you had your priorities wrong.
Ahem, ahem.
Perhaps I shouldn't pursue this line of questioning any further at the moment.
What a strange thing to do.
Turtle, turtle.
Are we good enough for the Turtle Club? I just managed to catch the crab when I suddenly heard the caterwaul from behind me. Ah, you're describing the victim's scream, presumably, Soseki-san? In more literary terms, you might say it was a scream that could have pierced the heavens.
Kya!
Or the like. Or, of course, that's just a metaphor. We renowned authors are wont to describing things so. Soseki-san wasn't at all like this in England. Anyway, I spun around at the noise and the beach hut immediately fell under my gaze. Yes, the beach hut. The area is popular with the government ministers. Many have seaside retreats there for the rest and recuperation.
He's trying to be Edgar Allan Poe.
Nice. This guy. Locals are prohibited from entering the area, so it's always very quiet. The beach hut is a simple structure, erected as a place for people to change or take refuge from the sun. Although, the Englishwoman commandeered the hut for herself, which meant that I was forced to change into my swimwear on the sand. Ah, I imagine that was rather embarrassing for you. Well, anyway, I tossed the crab aside and headed for the beach hut and ran at a run. Or, in more literary terms, I decrabbed and beetled off hutwise. I ran into the beach hut at once, where I found the pair in question. Wait, by pair, you don't mean to say... But how could that be? No, you misunderstand. Obviously, I mean the victim and the defendant, Ray Membami. Wow, I just figured that out. Oh, it would have been helpful if you could have just said that from the outset. If you jump to conclusions, you have to expect to fall flat on your face sometimes. Dear me, pinning your hopes on such an outside chance. Foolish, very foolish.
Dedicated to using pun names. Oh yeah, this game is back. The pun names have returned.
It really was an outside chance. I just wish I'd realized that before I said something silly. So, Inspector, why don't you tell the court how exactly you found the aforementioned pair in the hut? Well, it was a sorry sight. A real grisly scene. I parted the Norran curtain hanging in the doorway and stepped inside, only to see the defendant leaning menacingly over the lifeless body of the victim sprawled on the sand. Is that turtle fake? My glasses very nearly cracked at the ominous sight that met my eyes. How thoroughly appalling. He doesn't appear to be lying here. Well, Soseki-san, can you confirm what Inspector Hosonaga is saying, I wonder? Ah, you'd like a literary man's opinion. Yes, that young girl was astride in the Englishwoman, dagger in hand, as she stabbed wildly.
Hold it!
Stabbed wildly? You actually saw her do it? Oh, indeed. The terrible spectre, the terrapin inspector, the bloody torrent, the author's torment. Eek! Every sight and every sound is still carved in my melancholy memory. That was my impression, at least, as a future literary sensation. Counsel, what on earth was that shrill, effeminate scream? Oh, no, what are you insinuating? I'm as manly a Japanese man as you. I wonder if I might interject here, Soseki-san. Something you said is troubling me. That was my impression, were your words just now, I believe.
You think the turtle's fake?
I think so too. How dare you use a fake turtle and not a real one? Ah, so you mean to say you're not confident that you really did see what you've described?
Oh, here's these movements again.
No, I mean, yes. I know what I saw.
My ears didn't deceive me when I heard that scream, hence my eyes didn't deceive me either. I could describe everything I saw vividly. I could publish it in tomorrow's newspaper serial.
Or you hope the turtle's fake, rather.
It sounds as though the next installment of I Am a Cat may take a macabre turn.
I think this is a fool's errand. The more we press your author friend on what he saw, the more entrenched he's going to become.
Oh dear, how awkward.
I saw blood on the blade. It proved to me that she stabbed the victim multiple times.
How is this a blade, though? Well, let's just,
Press and see what happens.
She was stabbed multiple times. How can you be sure of that?
Very simply, from the blood on the blade.
The blood?
When I entered the hut, I saw the defendant holding the blade raised up in the air. Yes, that's right, I saw it too!
Oh.
And I noted that there was blood on the blade already at the point. In other words, the victim had already been stabbed at least once by the time I arrived on the scene. Yes, that's right, I saw it too! And the victim was already holding the defendant's fountain pen in her hand too. All of which means I can be sure the victim did not die instantly. Yes, right, saw it too! Maybe a year in London was too much for him. He sounds like he's forgotten how to speak Japanese. The logic of your argument is sound, at least.
Well, as I said, it is my guiding principle to carry out all testimonies flawlessly.
Which blade? You know, which blade?
Perhaps it should have been your guiding principle to protect the victim flawlessly. That's just my personal opinion, of course.
Counsel, you will refrain from mocking the witness.
Oh no, I just have so many thoughts whirling around in my head. It's all I can do to stand here, wide-eyed and mute.
Goodness, my dear, you really must try to calm down.
But how am I supposed to find an inconsistency in what those two gentlemen are saying? I don't see why either of them would have any reason to lie.
What you must remember, I think, is that the witnesses may have inadvertently lied at times, for various reasons: a misunderstanding, a mistake observation, a delusion even.
Ah, a delusion.
What's important is that we determine the truth, and there's only one way sure to do that.
Yes, with evidence, of course.
Spoken like a true judicial assistant. During witness testimony, you can use R to pick a piece of testimony. Yeah, I know how to do it. I know. I didn't find any conflicting stuff, but maybe the knife and the pen. Statement that appears to conflict with the piece of evidence. Present the evidence to the witness with X, and then way ahead it will present itself to you, I'm sure.
Yes! Alright then. I'll consider the details of all the evidence in the court record against each statement to find an inconsistency. Hope I'm up to the task.
Don't forget that you can have the witnesses repeat their statements as many times as you like.
I know.
There's no one else to defend the poor
Girl, you're right. You'll listen to the testimony again from the start.
Maybe one of the last two? Dagger in hand. Maybe, the pen?
Yes!
I'm gonna see if, like, the helper thing is here. Like, the clue.
Like, hey, the thing that you're supposed to present, it's right here.
If it's not in this game, then I'm in trouble. That means I'll be using a guide a lot.
Whoops! I did not mean to do that.
This is where I wish there was someone here who knew this game who could look up a guide for me and tell me, like, or clue me in on which thing to present an evidence to. Oh well.
Yes! Yes!
Evidence you've thrust in my direction is supposed to prove your point.
I apologize. I did present it rather more forcefully than I intended to.
You will kindly refrain from these over-exuberant outbursts, counsel. By the verbal...
You really put me in my place there.
I'm not seeing it. So the clue thing is not in this game, which really stinks.
Yes!
Might I want to reload here? Oh, I'll be reloading. The second I, fail, even one time, it's gonna be a reload, for sure. I presented the pin here, right? The pen?
Yes!
Your Excellency!
Alright, so... it's not this or this, and it wouldn't make sense that it's this, right? Beach hut where I found the pair in question. Crab. Let me read through the author statements here. Let me read through the author statements there? What does that mean? Where's that are you talking about? I just managed to catch the crab. Do you mean this guy? Managed to catch the crab when I suddenly heard a catch-a-wall from behind me. That doesn't mean anything. Beach hut where I found the pair in question. We'll just keep presenting evidence until I find the answer. Oh, there's this too. I forgot about that. There's, this is the post-mortem report. I forgot.
Yes! Objection!
There we go.
Stats!
This'll be a slow playthrough, guys. A slow playthrough because I am massively retarded. Time of death, only a single wound. Like I forgot about that.
Objection!
With that accusatory cry that just welled up from deep inside me, I think I finally understand. Every time Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san have stood here at this bench, the stakes have been very, very high indeed.
Well, what's the meaning of that menacing pose, Counsel?
I'd like the witness to clarify something for me.
Who? What? Where? When? How?
Not you, Soseki-san. The query is directed at Inspector Hosanaga.
At me? Objection! Hey, Foursquare, how you doing today? It's good to see you here.
You said that the victim was stabbed multiple times.
Yes, that's right.
As I said when I entered the hut, the defendant was already standing over the victim, bloody knife in hand, like a murderous demon. And yet, that cannot be.
What? Get to the point, please, Counsel.
In the post-mortem report, it clearly states that the victim was stabbed on one time only.
Ah! Hosanaga sus? I know he is. Coughing all the time.
In other words, Inspector Hosanaga's testimony is clearly flawed. Aha! And Soseki-san, me? You claim to have seen Membami-san in the throes of stabbing the victim. Yes, I did. Wildly.
How have you been, though, Foursquare? How's life treating you? You got an eagle in golf today. Is that a really good score? If that's a really good score, Foursquare, then well done! Congratulations!
But both you and the inspector confirmed the same point, that there was already blood on the knife that you saw the defendant holding. Yes, and it's quite simple. We know the murder weapon was used to stab the victim only once. Therefore, there is no way there could have been blood on the knife if that single stabbing hadn't already occurred.
Arg, true! Eagle is 3 under par, that's really good. Well done. Par 4, but you got in at 2. Well done, though, Foursquare. I'm happy for ya. And what exactly is your contention, Counsel? Are you ever going to tell us?
Yes, Your Excellency. There's only one logical conclusion. What Soseki-san in fact saw was not the moment that the defendant stabbed the victim at all, but the moment that the defendant in fact withdrew the blade from the victim's body.
can't be! Excellent work, Susato. Exploded at them and with that objection, and then proceeded to pull them apart systematically.
Objection!
Tisk. Well, this takes me back. Yes, I seem to remember your cousin staged a scene much like this at that trial 9 months ago. A half-witted child with a half-baked objection, attempting to steal the show. You're right. There was certain similarities. Except that so-called half-witted child managed to outwit the prosecution, who had only half a head of hair. Slander. My head is quite adequately dressed. In any case, all this talk of stabbing and withdrawing and multiple wounds.
Other holds were not that good.
Hey, at least you got one good one, right?
It means improvement, maybe, I think.
It makes not a jot of difference. What? Why not? Engage your brain, young man. When the accused first plunged the deadly weapon into the victim, there was the fatal blow. And it was that moment that, just as she had withdrawn the blade ready for her next strike, that the witness saw the knife was already tainted with blood because the accused had already stabbed the victim. Ah! All you have successfully shown with your little display is that the mustache author is prone to moments of extravagance. Ag! Yes. Much yes, Foursquare. I am in agreement with the prosecution. If the defendant was seen wielding the blade at all, that is sufficient grounds for her actions to be viewed with suspicion. But she was withdrawing the blade. Then we are back to where we started. Sorry? Consider this, young yokel boy. If the student girl is innocent as you claim, then why would she have pulled the blade from the victim, and with the demon's cold-blooded composure, too? The prosecution demands an explanation, and it had better be good. Why did Ray pull out the knife? Ah, yes, going for the jugular. What does Father mean by that? Let the court hear your answer then, counsel. The truth is, I don't really know, but I have to come up with a plausible reason here, or we don't have a case. The reason why the defendant had pulled the knife blade out of the victim's body was surely so she could...
Gonna finish Thunderbolts?
What's that? What's Thunderbolts? It sounds cool. Safer. Well, let me work it out for myself first before like a clue or a guess happens. Let me do it for myself first. Then we can do the guesses and stuff.
Marvel movie?
Oh, it's a Marvel movie. Nice. According to the post-mortem report, the victim's death was not instant. That's correct. It's thought she would have remained conscious for a short while after sustaining the injury.
Has to be Saber. The other two options imply Ray is the killer.
Gotcha. But again, let me figure it out first, please. Let me do it first, and then you guys can help me. Indeed, given her the time to take hold of this piece of evidence that clearly indicates your killer, the point is, being a medical research assistant, Membani-san was compelled to act when faced with the wounded victim. Instinctively, she pulled the blade out in an attempt to save Miss Brett's life.
Mr. Backseating aloud. Yeah, backseating aloud, but
not right now. Tisk, did you hear that, Your Excellency? It would seem that this is the best we can expect of this young yokel. Indeed.
Is he just me? Is it just me, or does it feel so much colder in here?
Your Excellency, if I may? Speak, witness. I would like another opportunity to testify in respect to the slipshod assertion just put forward by the yokel defense counsel. I mean, slipshod? Tisk, An excellent idea, Inspector. Our young yokel hopeful has a modicum of knowledge when it comes to the law, it seems. But in the matters of medicine, he appears to possess not one iota of common sense. I know, all the name-calling. Very well, Inspector, I will permit your request. I will testify again before the court on the subject of the defense counsel's assertion. Yes, sir, I will do so flawlessly. Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding. That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know. In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor. Is what you just said true, Inspector? Could pulling a knife from a wound really cause the wound to bleed heavily? Yes, think of the weapon itself as a stopper in the wound that prevents excessive blood loss. Until a doctor is ready to provide proper treatment, the stopper shouldn't be removed. Oh, I see. Huh, this is why yokels should stay on the farm. Even a quack from some obscure mountain village would have such basic knowledge. Anyone who's ever given someone a little poke with a knife and pulled it out again knows it. Oh, well, I've never stabbed anyone, you see, or pulled a blade out of a wound, so...
Of course you haven't. I didn't bring you up to behave like a bandit.
Father, is it true what they're telling me?
Yes, it's basic remedial knowledge for medics. Ray would have been well aware of it. If she were to claim ignorance of such fundamentals, that would prove fatal in many ways.
But then, why would Ray have done it? Could she have pulled out the knife in full knowledge that it would be fatal for Miss Brett?
Wouldn't call that... It's also true if you get a knife in the chest, keep it there.
Oh yes, I've seen
plenty shows where you better keep it. Wouldn't call that intuitive?
more information on that word, please.
Personally, I didn't grow up in the 18th century Japan. Give me a second.
Okay, I don't know. Ray never once mentioned anything about the knife to me. It seems almost impossible to believe, but could my friend actually have...
Susato,
Yes?
pull yourself together. We mustn't lose sight of why we're here.
Huh?
Counsel, it's time for your cross-examination.
Oh, yes, Your Excellency.
However, I must warn you that if your cross-examination fails to identify any issue with the established facts, I will be moving to my adjudication immediately afterwards.
I understand. Believing in your clients and fighting for their cause until the bitter end. I knew it would be hard, but I had no idea it would be this hard.
Pulling a blade from a wound without thinking could cause heavy bleeding.
This one might be the one where we have to press peoples
For more informations.
Hold it!
You say doing it without thinking could be a problem. Does that mean that if you use a duo care and attention it would be alright?
I wouldn't have thought this needed spelling out, really. But the blade is like a stopper in the wound. Remove it and a serious hemorrhage will occur. In other words, a medic would need to be present before any attempt was made to withdraw the blade. Doing it without thinking would be madness. You just can't do it.
Oh, well, thank you for such a thorough explanation. You see, Counsel, when you act without thinking, the result is a bloodbath.
Back to the witness testimony, please.
That's basic knowledge that any medical research assistant with an ounce of sense ought to know.
Hold it!
In that case, there's an obvious explanation here.
Which is...
Clearly, the defendant, Rei Membami-san, does not possess an ounce of sense.
What do you think about that, Professor Mikotoba? I'm not sure that you should be labeling your best friend as lacking in common sense.
Well, I thought it would be better than labeling her as a murderer. I don't know, young people today. If that's friendship, I don't understand it.
Careful, Counsel. A lack of common sense can be a very dangerous thing.
Oh dear, that recoiled on me rather badly.
That's life, I'm afraid. A lesson everyone must learn.
Hopefully you can see now that this is really basic medical knowledge. Being involved in medical research, Membami-san would certainly have been aware of it.
In other words, there's no good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife from the victim.
Hold it!
But the defendant had suddenly encountered somebody she knew lying on the ground, bleeding to death. The sight could have shocked her delicate sensibilities, causing her to remove the blade inadvertently. I really don't think inadvert actions can explain this. The woman is a medical research assistant. I can't imagine she would behave so irrationally. Oh, but irrational behavior is a woman's prerogative, isn't it? Oh dear, you have a lot to learn about women. Only a small-minded man could have such bigoted views. Oh dear, perhaps I'm letting my male persona take hold a little too much. Well, have I managed to convey the basics now? That should cover the medical side of the argument. Let's not forget that the young student did have a motive for killing the victim.
Hold it!
Whatever the motive, it just isn't in Membami-san's nature to do something so awful. But she had both motive and opportunity. That's very hard to argue against. But you don't know the defendant.
Objection!
And you, counsel, do not appear to know the law. Yes, evidence is the only way to convince the court of your argument, not feelings. With this fledgling to defend her, I would almost say I pity the accused. So do I. Inspector, you will reiterate your point about the defendant's motive, please. Yes, Miss Brett was in many ways the sworn enemy of Membami-san. The man the victim murdered 9 months ago, Dr. Wilson, was the defendant's highly respected mentor.
Hold it!
Well, yes, that's true. Dr. Wilson recognized Membami-san's talent and offered her the position of assigned despite her being a woman. She was extremely grateful to him. Yes, the Englishman appears to have been a very broad-minded individual. Dr. Wilson had no time for outdated traditions. He met with opposition, of course, but he believed firmly in Membami-san's abilities. Clearly the defendant was in the man's debt, which only serves to prove my point. Crap. Another thing where I don't see a contradiction anywhere. This is hopeless. I can't find a single crack in this testimony anywhere. If Ray knew that withdrawing the knife from the wound would threaten Miss Brett's life further, I just can't think of any way to explain why she did it. Susato, it's at times like these when it's especially important to remember the fundamentals. Fundamentals? Evidence is what counts in the courtroom, isn't it? Of course, but I've been through the court record dozens of times already. I think perhaps you're forgetting something, though. You needn't take the evidence at face value. You can and must examine it in greater detail, too. Oh, can I examine things now? First, I'm playing the role of lawyer in the courtroom, so if you need a reminding of the rudiments, you need only ask. I'll do my very best to help. Examine the evidence in the court record? It's an idea, certainly. What should I do? I already know. Come to think of it, Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san were always turning evidence over and over in their hands. Yes, I need to examine things in greater detail with A. Ah, by the look in your eyes, I see it's coming back to you. Go through the court record again and have a thorough look at everything. You may just find a clue. Yes, I'll do it straight away. Ah. Alright guys, here we go. If we take off the pen's lid... Is that the knife? It's not showing... Oh. There we go. Now let's unscrew the barrel, shall we? Okay. A little bit more. This must be the little reservoir that holds the ink. Yes, you fill it by drawing ink from the bottle up through the nib. Is something wrong, Father? Just that there doesn't actually appear to be any ink in there, that's all. Oh, yes, you're right. It's pretty much empty. Well, it could be on the verge of running out, I suppose. Very small amount of liquid inside. Well, I was hoping for more of a clue than that, but here's RM. The RM initials are very clearly engraved here, and the fact that Miss Brett was clinging to this pen in her dying moments is very clearly a message too. Blood? Does it look like a blade in there to me? Nope. To identify her killer, you mean? I don't think there can be any doubt that this is a key piece of evidence in this case.
the back supposed to look like that? What's this? There's some sort of emblem here. Look, but it isn't a Yume University one. Must belong to some other organization, I suppose. A business of some kind. But that would seem to imply that the pen doesn't in fact belong to Rei. Doesn't belong to Rei. Well, well, well. Alright. Basic knowledge. Oh, good reason why the defendant would have tried to pull the knife. They have a motive. Respected mentor. So maybe this one or the last one? Let's do a little bit of a wee save here. Hey, guess what?
Objection!
Yeah, I thought so. Alright, that's not it, obviously. Present the pen.
Objection!
Son of a bitch. Okay, let's present the pen at every piece of evidence then. What kind of conspiracy this case will lead to, do you think? Who knows? Who knows at this point? Did have a motive.
Objection!
Oh gosh. Why am I this dumb, guys? I'll ask upon the viewers, do you see anything at all? You don't think there's anything to do with the pen, the testimony about medical knowledge, one of the other pieces of evidence? Which one, though? I'm almost afraid to ask this, but, if anyone else wants to look through the guide and, like, point me in the right direction, like, which thing to present that might help things move along a bit. Paper? What would prove that, a newspaper and what else? A newspaper, the fountain pen, the crime scene, and the mortem report. And it just says nothing about a thing.
Objection!
Alright, it's not that. Examine the article. We can't read it though, is the problem. Unless we can read it, unless we can examine more items now. Oh, we can examine more items. Ranktious England returnees tell all. This is the interview with you and Soseki-san, is it, Father? It looks as though it was quite an exchange. Yes, he became a little over-animated when he was talking about his time in England. The photographer managed to capture the moment his hand karate chopped me on the neck. I do hope you weren't hurt. That doesn't help, does it? This is the newspaper from Soseki-san. Seems to be an important article on the back page as well. Exclusive. Deadly poison stole from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. Community's medical research? Father, isn't that your lab? What the? Let me see that. The poison's been stolen? It's this morning's paper that Soseki-san gave us. Are you saying you didn't know? As embarrassing as that is for the head of the laboratory, I didn't. I've not heard of any such thing. Where on earth could the reporter have gleaned this information? Come to think of it, there was no article mentioning the story in our paper this morning, was there? It's highly toxic poison we've been working on in the strictest confidence. I put Rei in charge of the project. Rei? She was managing it? If what's written here is true, it means that she tried to hide the theft from me. And moreover, the detail was leaked somehow. I don't believe it. You need to read this article very carefully. Okay. Do I have to examine this too? Nope. Examine this too? Nope. Poison article. Following a lecture at Yume by Soseki Natsumi on the 11th, come to light that the very disturbing incident, a deadly poison being secretly developed in the university's forensic science laboratory, was stolen. Hey Mitsumi! How you doing today? Welcome to the Ace Attorneys. Rakus is how Rakus is pronounced. Why do so many weird words exist? Why can't we just use basic words? What's wrong with using basic words? But yeah, how are you today, Mitsumi? It's good to see ya. Even the smallest amount entering the body, either via the mouth or a wound from a poison-laced blade, would prove fatal in minutes. Current methods cannot detect the newly developed chemical. The university would have to be consulted. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, starting with impaired breathing and ending with acute contraction of the pupils. The pupils! Prior to death, such symptoms would be suggested of this toxin. Apparently, the entire new synthesis of alkaloids, and rumored to have been consumed by the military. Alkaloids and midichlorians. Now we're getting somewhere. You just woke up? Well, good morning. Morning! It's night where we are right now. And it's morning, so you're in the future. And Blue Thunder's back as well. Welcome back. So... let's save again. And maybe present the poison thingy.
Objection!
Star Wars. Yes. Also, yeah, alkaloids are hella poisonous. Some of the most one drop and you die. Poisons are all alkaloids. With the mythic meridians. Yes. Yeses. No, there is one possibility. One very good reason why the defendant might have decided to withdraw a knife from the victim's wound. What? Huh. The yokel not only has a poor grasp of the law, but is also a poor loser. Mitsumi, have you seen this game before, by the way? It's really good. Tell us then, what possibility do you think you've identified? It's here, in the newspaper article. An article about a deadly poison having been stolen from the laboratory at the Imperial University Uni.
Objection!
Nope. Oh, it's good. If you like Ace Attorneys and like court proceedings and murder cases, it's a good one. The victim perished from a stab wound. Poison has no relevance in this case. But Prosecutor Ouchie will let the defense speak. But a newspaper article, the court cannot rely on the kind of heresy those wretched publications carry. Counsel for the defense. I am going to need some tangible basis for your claim. Will indicate to the court precisely what part of the newspaper article mention affirms your assertion. Your Excellency. Yes, of course. Thank you. Ray would never have done something to further endanger Miss Brett's life without just cause. The reason why the defendant pulled the knife from the victim's body is explained in the article where it says... Save at each and every statement. Deadly. Maybe deadly. The article reveals the following property about the poison in question. Whoa! Oh my gosh! Everyone! Thanks, guys. Thank you for the raid. Hello, Hunter, Spirit Kitten, Jackson, MDXL Ivy, and Purple Tess. Thanks, everyone. Raid, the sharks have fed and are ready to chill. Thank you for the raid so much. Thank you, Hunter, for following. Oh, how was your stream, Titanium Chef? What's been cooking? Titanium Chef's a good streamer, by the way. I would recommend checking him out if you want some good-looking foods to look at. Take that follow, dear lawyer. Thank you. How's everyone doing? When the toxin enters the body on a knife laced with the poison, it rapidly absorbs and causes death in minutes. Are you suggesting? Hunter, you're my first follow this month, so yay! Thank you. Are you suggesting if the knife used to attack Miss Brett was laced with this very poison, it would explain why the defendant, Membami-san, would have withdrawn the blade as soon as possible? Thank you as well. Who did that? Beanie, XX Beanie. Thank you for following as well. You're just hungry now due to the chef. Chef cooking things that are delicious, I bet. What did he cook today? I must know. Yes, the truth is, It was an attempt to stop the poison from entering the victim's body. Meal set inspired by a VTuber friend. Breakfast burger, beer-battered fries, and a blueberry milkshake. Oh my gosh. A lot of B's that I want to eat right now. Breakfast burger. What was in the breakfast burger? What? Look, that guy's shocked too.
Attention!
This is completely and utterly nonsense. Titanium Chef, how could you make such a delicious thing without Ultima watching? Not at all. The defendant withdrew the knife's blade from the victim's body not to accelerate the woman's demise, but to save her life, and the prosecution cannot deny the possibility. Have you not read the post-mortem report? The cause of death was hemorrhage. The word poison appears nowhere in the document. Well, that's because by acting quickly to remove the blade, the defendant prevented the poison from taking hold.
Attention!
Oh please, this is clearly desperation. The weasel's last breaking of wind. Poison has nothing whatsoever to do with this case, as I believe the defense is well aware. We have no proof that the information in this wretched newspaper article is all reliable anyway. Pics incoming. Ooh, nice. Hash browns and egg and beef. Oh my gosh, that sounds too good. Burger had beef patty, hash brown. You son of a gun, I love hash browns. Bacon, egg, and homemade barbecue sauce. Please send me some, Titanium Chef. This is my address here. Send me some, please. Only the university can detect the poison. It's that new. The pen had a little liquid in it. Was it in the vial, do you think? You like my voice acting? I try my best with these games, with these visual novel-like games. In that situation, what the student should have done is wait for medical assistance to arrive, but instead, you claim she suspected poisoning and took the potentially lethal decision to remove the blade. She must have had a strong reason for her suspicions then, or the argument makes no sense. Exactly. Well put, Inspector. On what grounds did she do it? Yokel? Why did Ray suspect the stolen poison was involved? You have that fan too? Nice. You have his fan, the anime finger to the glasses moment. Yeah, we love those moments. If you want grounds, I'll give you grounds. What? You can't possibly. From your expression, Counsel, it would appear those are not empty words. But naturally, as you stand in this courtroom as a lawyer, you must be aware that words alone, empty or not, are of no value in our modern justice system. The court demands evidence. You love the Professor Layton games? You too. There's a new one coming out soon. You're getting hungry now, reading what the Titanium Chef made? If you check out his channel, you'll see even more foods that'll make you hangry. When prosecuted with glasses, you'll love that voice. The wussy, wimpy voice, yes. Gonna get breakfast? I'll see you, Mitsumi. Eat breakfast goodly. Yes, Your Excellency. I'm well aware of that. I've seen it many times from my place at his side in the Old Bailey. In that case, Counsel, he will present the proof to the court now. What evidence demonstrates the clear link between this case and the poison in the newspaper article? You follow, Chef? Yay! Awesome. Followed a lot of people in my time, huh? Here.
Take that!
How exactly would you explain this piece of evidence's connection to the newspaper article? In truth, I'm not really sure. But my father always taught me to ask my elders whenever I was in trouble, so I thought I should ask your opinion, Your Excellency. If it's the advice you seek, Counsel, then I suggested before thrusting evidence under my nose. Why not thrust it under the nose of the professor at your side? Nope. Let it be known, I am not the smartest person in the world, so we're gonna be on some of these cases for a bit, with me, presenting evidence that's not right, so bear with me, everyone, alright?
Take that!
I will ask the court to refer to the notes section of the post-mortem report, which reads, extreme meiosis, pupil constriction, again I forgot about that, was observed in the victim. Ah, clearly, being a yokel with no knowledge of forensic science, I have an idea. So please do tell me, presumably, the fact that this condition of the victim was noted in the post-mortem report means that it is an unusual symptom of death?
Tisk, well,
Under normal circumstances, the pupils dilate when someone dies. If there was extreme constriction instead, then most certainly unusual, yes.
where are you going, you yokel detective?
In the newspaper article, there's the following information about the stolen poison. Onset of symptoms occurs in minutes, ending with acute constriction of the pupils prior to death.
What?
If the defendant, upon seeing the victim stabbed in the back, happened to notice that the pupils of Miss Brett's eyes had constricted severely. Yes, as a medical research assistant, she would have suspected poison immediately, without doubt.
Grr.
Professor Auchi, I think you'll agree. This is very compelling evidence.
Tisk, you yokel student and yokel professor!
I believe the defense has expertly demonstrated a credible reason for the defendant's actions.
No.
Yujin Mikotoba. Yes, Your Excellency. I believe you are best placed here to confirm or deny the veracity of the defense's counsel's argument. You will tell the court the truth about the details reported in the newspaper, please. It pains me to have to admit it, but I'm afraid I don't know. You don't know? The toxin was kept under lock and key in my laboratory, certainly, but I was unaware of any theft. You mean to tell the court that the reports of this theft are unfounded? No, Your Excellency. Without returning to the laboratory to investigate myself, I couldn't say.
Ha! Listen to the bumbling academic. Unaware of the theft of secret state research from his own workplace until he reads in the newspaper.
I take full responsibility for the incompetence of my supervision.
Father! Tisk, a pitiful situation for a university professor. You should have more control over your students, rather than allowing them off on killing sprees.
That's totally unfounded. Oh boy. Who did the hold it?
None of this is Professor Mikotoba's fault. It's all my fault. Ray.
Mamami-san, you stand accused here. All outbursts like this will not be tolerated.
But it was me. I was the one who noticed that the poison we were developing had been stolen that day.
What?
So you knew. I'd been placed in charge of overseeing the project. It was the day that the professor and Soseki-san were interviewed together for the newspaper. That's when I noticed that some of the poison was missing, just a tiny amount it was.
Why didn't you let me know immediately?
I was scared. The whole project was supposed to be confidential, but some of the toxin had somehow been taken. So I decided I'd try to get it back before anyone else found out, because I had a very good idea who the thief was.
The thief? You don't mean...
Yes, of course. It was that dainty Englishwoman.
Miss Giselle Brett?
That's why I decided to join the little group of people going to the seaside. Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett. But she just sat on a stool in the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me if she knew she was untouchable. I knew it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then, she suddenly got to her feet, before falling to her knees in front of me and then collapsed on the floor. That's when I saw the knife in her back. I couldn't understand what had just happened. And then, a moment later, I was seized with fear. The pupils of her eyes had shrunk to tiny pinpoints.
I don't believe it. In other words, you realized that the victim was suffering the effects of the stolen poison.
My mind started racing. I hadn't seen anything past Miss Brett's lips whilst I'd been with her, which left only one possible way for the poison to have entered her body.
on the blade of the knife in her back. And then the train of thought was what spurred you to withdraw the blade. Yes, if the amount of blood entered her bloodstream was small enough, she might have had a chance. That's what I hoped. Really, I'm so sorry for staying silent all this time. Your attempt to hide the truth of what happened is not something that can be overlooked. However, I have duly noted the courage with which you confessed in the end. Thank you, Your Excellency. It's barely perceptible, but I do think the balance has shifted a little here, in this courtroom now.
Objection!
That's what you think. Your Excellency, do not be deceived. The victim just collapsed before your eyes, you say? Well, Membami-san, if that is the case, perhaps you could explain how Miss Brett came to be stabbed. Well, you have no answers because the simple truth is that you stabbed the victim motivated by revenge.
Objection!
But you have no conclusive evidence to prove that assertion, do you? Oh, I have evidence, and it is very much conclusive. What's the prosecution counsel up to? It was brief, but he hesitated for a moment there. I'm almost sure of it. You will produce the aforementioned evidence at once, Prosecutor Ouchi. Perhaps some praise is due, young yokel student. What? I had imagined there would be no need for me to submit this evidence. But you brought this on yourself. Oh boy. What the? Could the more damning shot exist? The cruelty in the air on the beach is almost palpable. This evidence, more than any other, reveals the true extent of the accuser's murderous nature, for it shows the precise moment that Membami-san plunged her dagger into the victim's back. No, that's not true. No. I don't believe it. Ah! Did you see what I saw? I missed it. I'm gonna look at the picture again. Don't say it. Order, order, order! Counsel for the defense, was it you who was responsible for that shrill scream that just pierced my courtroom? Perhaps his voice is yet to break. Those yokels are slow of mind and slow to mature. I'll show you who's slow to mature. Careful now. Susato is starting to show her face here. It is often said that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and here we have ample proof. The court will accept this extremely cogent photograph print as evidence. It. Oh, you saw it? Stars? The actual, like, it person? The clown? Did you see it? Knife? An actual knife? Dead lady. She looks like Maya Fey, kind of. She's wearing an outfit. There's a ribbon here. Crack. There's a crack here, too. Psst, guys. Something's going on with this crack. Cracked indeed. I can't believe she had a photograph like this up his sleeve the entire time. It's such a stark image. I'm genuinely lost for words. Wait a minute. I don't understand. How did you... I mean, who took that photograph? Ray.
Objection!
That's of no importance here. Stop trying to divert attention. Oh,
Objection!
that's an absurd thing to say. It's crucially important. Whoever took this photographic print was a witness to Miss Brett's death. The court must be allowed to hear this person's testimony. Arg! I will uphold the defense's demand. Prosecution will reveal the identity of the person responsible for taking this photograph at once. Well, I'm afraid I can't do that. Pardon? You see, this print arrived at the Imperial Police Bureau headquarters by express post yesterday, but there was nothing to indicate the sender's name or address. The provenance of this print is unknown. Goodness! Are we to understand then, counsel, that in full knowledge of the fact that this photograph had the murkiest of origins, You nevertheless believe it fit for submission as evidence in the Supreme Court? When you first produced the print before, I noticed that you hesitated for a brief moment, because you knew that it wasn't completely reliable evidence, didn't you? Silence, you yokel student and blabbering professor! What matters is the blatant truth that this print so eloquently expresses. But the defendant has already admitted to pulling the blade from the wound. Clearly, this isn't the moment that the knife was plunged into the victim's back, but the moment it was withdrawn. Don't waste the court's time with your ramblings. Indeed, without knowledge of who produced this print, we have no means of verifying the claim, and the scene it captures is without doubt the most compelling evidence presented to the court. If the defense is unable to shed any further light on the matter, I believe the conclusion is clear. Oh no! Susato, this is the time for you to fight. If what you've established so far is true, then there can be no doubt. This photograph shows the moment that Ray withdrew the blade from the victim. Yes, we just need to prove that somehow. Tisk, haha. You'll have plenty of time to rue your defeat on the slow train back to the provinces. And to rue the day you come up against Taketsuchi Ouchi in the court of law. If I can't determine who took this photograph, then the trial is going to come to an end. Must be a clue somewhere. There must be some way of working out who took it. Well, counsel? Your Excellency, the burning question of who took the photograph, and the truth is... Maybe with the camera crack, it'll do the answer? I have it and the answer. Do we know who took the other picture, by the way? By police. This isn't about whether I can or can't come up with the answer now. I simply have to. Oh no, it's the article picture. Wrong picture. The identity of the person who took this dramatic photographic print is, I assure you, something the defense can and will reveal. What? No, you can't possibly. But, as you so boldly claim that you can, please, enlighten us. Unfortunately, I'm unable to present a name. Your phone is hot and angry, Zads. Oh no. Cursed phone. Calm down, phone. With that, I have the answer, and it saves. Oh yeah. I'm not the smartest person in the world, so I always save the game before I answer. Just in case I get it wrong. Okay, not just in case, when I get it wrong. Ha 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 ha. How utterly underwhelming. Did you really believe you could? However, I am able to present evidence. The defense has a piece of evidence that reveals important details about the photographer's identity. Whoa. Very well then, counsel. Present your proof to the court. Which piece of evidence do you claim reveals something about the identity of the mysterious photographer? It's the pen! No, it's not. It's this.
Take that!
What is that? The newspaper again? Rakius... I can't even say the word. Still. Saves fill you with determination or something. It sure does. England returnee tells all. It's not the headline that's relevant here, Your Excellency. It's the photograph. If you look at it closely, you'll notice that there are some white lines on the right-hand side. Ah, yes indeed. That has already caught my eye as it happens. Huh, what of it? A shadow of some kind, presumably, from the branches of a tree or the like? There are no trees growing inside my laboratory at the university, I can assure you. Now, if you look closely at this photograph... Good gracious! Yes, exactly the same pattern of lines is present on this photograph too.
Attention!
Well, that tells us nothing. Yes, it's a shadow of some kind, definitely, from the branches of a tree. There wouldn't be any trees growing inside a hut at the beach, Council. Ugh. What's quite remarkable about it is that the two patterns are absolutely identical. How could such an extraordinary similarities have transpired? The current matches the pattern. The curious matching pattern that appears on both photographic prints is a result of camera defect, I'm pretty sure. Some tree branches. Duh. Obviously, it must be due to a problem with the camera used to take the photographs. With the photographic device? Yes. We can confidently say that the camera lenses must be scratched, and that the scratch lenses cause unwanted lines to appear on every print taken with the device. The judge seems more intelligent than the ones in Phoenix's anime, or Phoenix's time. I know. He's the serious judge. Consideration, were taken with the same camera. But there must be hundreds of such camera devices here in the capital. It would be utterly impossible to identify the owner of this particular one.
Objection!
I think you're forgetting, Prosecutor Ouchie, that one of the photographs featured in a newspaper article. A newspaper? That's right. The author of that article is the mystery witness to this crime. What? Whack! Mo. What? Oh boy. Okay, it's this guy. I see why you were called a ranxious England returnee. What are you yelling about? You already testified. It's mini memo. I tell you, mini memo. Mo. So Seki-san? What was that? Did you say mini memo? Ever since I've returned to Japan, a reporter from the Shoyo News has been hounding me, following my every move. A reporter by the name of Write-in Many Memo. Yes, hounding me from the dawn till dusk. Now that he mentions it. To secretly spy, snapshots, and scribble stories and super my privacy. Could that same reporter be... A camera to the left of him, a notebook to the right. There I am, stuck in the middle with Write-in Many Memo. Love it. So you're saying that this picture was taken by... writing many memos, wow. And RM. Did you see the cameraman's armband? Oh, I missed it. He was moving so flippin' fast. So you're saying that this picture was taken by... By Many Memo! Yes! My lord, your excellency, Esquire! Officer, find this newspaper reporter at once and bring him to my courtroom. We will adjourn for a short recess in the meantime. Oh, yes, your excellency. As you say, your excellency. And one more thing. I want this knife. Oh, there's the knife. The murder weapon, examined for traces of poison. You will solicit the assistance of the Imperial University's medical department for the task. Understood? Meh. Many memo! Oh, I love Ace Attorneys. If anyone's a streamer in my chat, you guys should check out the Ace Attorney series sometime. It's really, really fun. Start with the first game, the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy. "13th of August. I'm so sorry, Susato. I should have told you about the toxin. Ray. You have a strong sense of responsibility, I know. That's why you decided to shoulder the burden alone. No, that's not it at all. Many memos. I love the names. I was scared of my failure coming to light, that's all. So I hoped to retrieve the substance from the Englishwoman before anyone found out. Before the trial started, do you remember what you said, Susato? That you had no doubt in your mind about my innocence, that you'd stand by me to the last. I remember. And yet I didn't deserve your trust in me. I hid important details from you, Susato. I completely betrayed your faith in me. Hit me, Susato. I deserve it. No, in fact, throw me to the floor. No, that's too good for me as well. Drag me through the city streets. I'm no better, you know. Oh? Even though in my heart I knew that you'd pulled the knife blade from Miss Brett's back, there was just a brief moment when, in my mind, I doubted you. Susato, I'm sorry. After I stood here and promised you that I'd stand by you and always be on your side, I betrayed your faith in me too. And as such, I failed you as a lawyer. Oh, no! I think the situation has taught both of you a valuable lesson. Placing your unbridled faith in another is no easy task. Yes, Father, that fact has certainly struck home. Which is why I can't see more clearly now. So, Ray? Yes? Can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Oh, Susato. You know you'll always be a gallant, dashing lawyer in my eyes now. Oh, Ray. Oh, Ray. I was so scared, you know, when it happened. I didn't know what was going on. The English woman was sitting at the back of the hut listening to what I was saying. I know it was you who stole the poison. Well now, whatever do you mean? And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet. Before collapsing on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. It all happened right before my eyes, and you were the only people in the hut at the time? That's right, just Miss Brett and myself. There was no one else. So I just don't understand how she could possibly have been stabbed like that. A great mystery indeed. I still can't believe it happened. That's why I just couldn't bring myself to speak up. It will be all right. However it happened, and whatever really went on by the sea that day, I promise you that I'm going to prove everything you've said you saw is true. Spoken like a true Mikotoba. Now, I think we should discuss what's coming up in the trial, don't you? We don't have much time. We must make sure we have our facts in order. Yes, I expect the poison is going to come under close scrutiny in the upcoming proceedings. The police should hopefully have identified it on the blade by now. The trouble is, it's a completely new laboratory synthesized blend of alkaloids. The police won't have any way of testing for it. Oh, I see. Yes, with this chemical reagent, it's impossible to detect the toxin. Chemical reagent? I sent a colleague of mine off with some earlier to deliver to police headquarters. I think perhaps you should have some as well, though, just in case. Okay. What's the matter, Susato? You're suddenly very quiet. Let's examine this bottle, huh? The label appears to be written in a foreign language that I don't know. It's German, so your knowledge of English is going to be a little help here, I'm afraid. Couldn't you have just written medicine on it in Japanese, and we'd all be able to read it? German is the international language of medicine, my dear. But yes, I can certainly see the merit in labeling the bottle in Japanese, though I'm not sure medicine would be entirely appropriate. Yeah, medicine would not work. I guess that's it. It's this newspaper article. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. I'm wondering how the information got out, given that it was a government secret. It was all the Englishwoman's doing. What? It was when the professor and Soseki-san were being interviewed at the laboratory. That so-called English lady swanned in, without any compunction, said to Professor Mikotoba, "Oh, Professor, surely your guests won't love to hear about your work on that substance there." It puts me in a very awkward position, to be frank. but Soseki-san's curiosity had been piqued, so I had little choice but to give him a cursory introduction. So then, Soseki-san knew about the poison. During the 18th and 19th centuries, that was very true. German was the place for medical research. Many of the best doctors in Japan during the Meiji were trained in Germany, including a character from Ruroken? Who's that? What's Ruroken? That's pretty cool, though. German was the medicine place. The reporter who was writing up a story about us would have caught a glimpse of the toxin too. This Minimemo-san. By the way, did that reporter join you all when you went to the beach? Oh, no, I don't remember the reporter being there. Indeed, he shouldn't have been. I very much doubt anyone would have wanted him there. Oh? A known criminal has been given permission by the authorities to bathe by the seaside. Soseki-san pointed out that inviting a reporter might be problematic, so the man was sent back to his office. Yet he obviously didn't go back. He secretly followed the party to the beach and took this very candid photograph. Oh, Rurouni Kenshin. Gotcha. Why'd you call it Ruroken then? I want to see that show badly, by the way. And then presumably he posted it anonymously to the police. Oh! Yes, that must be what happened. Counsel! We've just heard that the new witness is now ready to testify. The trial is about to resume. Please proceed into the courtroom at once. Commonly used shortened for the show among fans. Oh. Weird. It's time to steel ourselves once again, then. Defense attorney Ryutaro Naruhodo? Yes! Rei has put her faith in me now and told me everything, so I can't let her down. I have to prove that what she's telling the court is true. I have to prove what really happened that day. I hereby call this court to order as we reconvene to continue the trial of Rei Membami. Prosecutor Ouchi, have you summoned the new witness? Before I address that question, Your Excellency, I have some very important news to share. Oh? What news? And why does he look so happy about it? During the recess, with the collaboration of Professor Mikotoba's laboratory at Yume University, the police re-examined the knife that was used to end Miss Giselle Brett's life. Excellent. I admire your rapid handling of the matter. Oh, too kind, Your Excellency. Too kind. I was merely carrying out your instructions, of course. I had the reagent delivered to police headquarters by rickshaw, so it would be there in good time. But judging by the man's swagger, I fear we might need to brace ourselves for the inevitable. And, counsel, what were the results? This dagger, which was so cruelly used to end the life of the victim, has no trace of poison anywhere along its blade. What? Are you sure about that? I would stake the reputation of the police on it. Armed with the regent, the test is extremely simple. They couldn't have made a mistake. So yeah, it's in the pen. In short, the accused feeble excuse earlier has been utterly destroyed. Ag! I bet I was jumping the gun there. I bet no one is thinking that the poison is in the pen. Now the prosecution is ready to call the new witness. Ah, the newspaper reporter who managed to capture a photograph of the crucial moment. Good. Very well, officer. Bring in the witness. No trace of poison on the knife, but if that's really the case, how could the toxin have entered the victim's body? But we know it's in the pen. Yep. There he is. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. Write in memo of the Shoyu News. I'm what people like to call a journo. What's a journo, Father? Do you know? It's simply a contraction of journalist. I'm there when the news breaks, putting pen to paper to catch those scoops so they're in print the next morning. They don't call me the hero of the Herald for nothing, the nice guy of news. Oh, so it was you who took the photograph, was it? I do notice his armband also. Well, what are we here? Armband! Show you news. I'm sorry? Oh, brace yourselves, people. Mini Memo senses a scoop in the offing. Female student up to foul play, defended by curiously handsome young lawyer in Supreme Court. Readers will lap this up. We'll set it above the fold at 72 point in a 5-leg format for the morning edition. Huh? Right then. Let's start with your name. Oh, it's Ryutaro Naruhodo. Next, what made you want to become a lawyer? I wanted to reform our country's legal system, I suppose. Ryutaro has suddenly become very ambitious, I see. I just borrowed Kazuma-sama's dream for a while. By the way, my name is Taketsuchi Aochi. That's Taketsuchi Aochi. The so-called dark horse of the Supreme Court. My objections strike fear into every defense lawyer's heart. Also, what's with this hand? See that pink, or purple rather? I can see colors, don't worry. No, the readers won't buy that. What? Bit of ink spilled. Witness? Yes? What this court demands is to know whether or not you were responsible for the taking of this picture. It was delivered anonymously to the Imperial Police Bureau only yesterday. Yeah, I wouldn't be a journo if it didn't click when presented with a scoop like that now, would I? Sometimes stories call out to me, sometimes I have to chase them down, but either way you've got to be fast. Fast legs to run with, and a fast hand to write with. It's no good if you don't note it down, I always say. That's what I call minimemoism. Minimemoism? Ah, yes, I remember your face. We met that day when you were interviewing myself and Soseki-san. Yes, right, that was me. Mini-memo again. But you were supposed to be going back to the Shoyu News offices after our meeting. But the scoop is, I didn't. Because that Englishwoman's words had piqued my journalistic interest. Purple is one of the best colors. I do like purple. This guy appears to be the smartest judge in the series. I know, scary. Good thing he's only the judge in the first of these cases. Miss Brett's words? A criminal, left to do as she pleases, just because she happens to be a British citizen? It's horse dung. This country's judiciary is rotten to the core. The Supreme Court's ruling aren't worth the paper they're written on. The police are just imperial pawns. Stay your tongue, young man. There are complex political issues at play. Well, anyway, I quickly jotted down those words she said in my memo pad. Are you ready? I'll read it out. It's all here. Ready? All right, here goes. I should like to go with everyone to see your country's coast. A serious criminal going on some junket? The people need to know about this. That's why I decided to sneak after them. To get this woman's story so I could hammer her in the press. Do you mean to say that you did indeed witness it firsthand? The grim scene portrayed in this photograph? Oh yes, I saw it with my very own journo eyes, from start to finish, through the viewfinder of my trusty camera. Was this pen, perhaps? Probably. Thank you, Mini-memo-san. You will now give a formal testimony before the court. You will state exactly where it is that you witnessed of the events surrounding the Miss Brett's death. The camera never lies. The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screen, so there were plenty of gaps I could see inside through. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back. My shouldering journo spirit burst into flames, quick as a flash. I whipped out my camera, ready to click. I pulled apart a rough weave of one of the screens and poked the lens through for the perfect shot. I'm gonna make a wild guess, by the way, and say that this guy is the murderer. Reed screens, you say? Right. You can see them clearly enough in that great shot I snapped. The hut walls were just screens made of coarsely woven reeds. Murderer. Yes, it allows the breeze to pass through and bring some relief from the summer's heat. And it was a breeze for me to poke my camera through and see the whole thing hotting up. Ignoring for the time being the appalling invasion of privacy involved, did you witness everything that happened from the moment the defendant entered the hut? Oh yes, I saw it. I saw the whole thing from start to finish. And you say that you took the photograph through a gap in one of the screens? Luckily for me, they were pretty shoddily woven. I pulled the reeds apart and thrust the lens of my camera through the gap. Would I get away with it, or would I be seen? It was a gamble of a lifetime. A tenacity of purpose that's considered admirable in a journalist, I suppose. Run a risk one day, run a scoop the next. That's many mennoism in a nutshell. At last. It would appear we have a genuine witness to this wicked crime. The evidence and the testimony are extremely compelling. I believe we may be close to a verdict. No! Wonderful news, Your Excellency. Wonderful. Nevertheless, it cannot be denied that this testimony begs one very large question. What question? Exclusive news, a startling photograph, all the makings of an exceptional story for the reporter. Why then was the story never published? Oh, that's right. It seems clear to me that there are circumstances at play here that are yet to be understood. Huh, more pathetic excuses. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Excellency. There's more to this reporter than meets the eye. He's keeping something about this case very close to his chest. What could it be? The beach hut was made of shoddy old reed screen, so there was plenty of gaps I could see inside through. Can I see? I don't see any. I doubt it would be that easy, but just in case, I'm gonna do it right here. I hugely doubt it's that easy. Yeah.
Objection!
There is none, actually. But apparently it's not that easy as I thought. Just checking. Just checking. It doesn't seem irrelevant. It doesn't seem... Oh man. I might request that everyone uses smaller words in chat so I know what the heck you're talking about. Press.
Hold it!
What made you want to see what happened inside the beach hut in the first place? Call it journo instinct. Can you think of a better reason? Oh, I don't know. Perhaps because as well as being a proven criminal, the person inside was a young woman. Ah, I see where you're going with this. Brace yourselves, people. He's painting a journo as a voyeur. It's hardly slander, sir. You had a camera and you were taking pictures without the woman's knowledge. Nope, you got it all wrong, little student boy. Sorry? To my mind, all this was inside that hut was a scoop. Nothing more, nothing less. Scoops know no gender, man or woman. It's all news. That's not even memoism. It's basic journalism. If only the courtroom was as indiscriminate. Right, so if that's all buttoned up, can we move on? Tell the court then, witness, what sight befell your eyes when you looked inside the hut. A sight that vindicated my journo instinct, that's what. When I pulled back the reeds, I could see it all as clear as day. The Englishwoman was sitting on a stool when the student girl came in and started arguing with her.
Hold it!
So you actually saw Membami's son entering the hut? Yup, and she was raging like my journo spirit. And the argument you mentioned, what was that about exactly? You stole it. I didn't steal it. That kind of thing. Talking about the poison, I suppose. The student girl walked right up to the Englishwoman and really started laying into her. I mean, if she'd laid into her anymore, there would have been eggs. The man should have been an author. His description talents are wasted on journalism. But the student's rantings fell on deaf ears, like a Japanese person listening to English for the first time. He really ought to work on his similes first, though, to be honest. Anyway, the point is that woman in the dock was mightily angry. And her temper finally got to the better of her, it seems. Dear me. Which was the climactic moment that I caught on film. Seconds later, the girl pulled out a knife, throwing the Englishwoman to the floor as she stabbed her in the back.
Hold it!
Do you swear before this court that you actually saw the precise moment when the stabbing took place? Ha, the precise moment? I didn't see just that. I saw the whole hellish scene play out, from start to finish. I have here a simple plan of the beach hut. Perhaps you could use it to explain to the court exactly what you witnessed. Right you are. It's all here in my memo pad. Haha, we have a picture, a map now. When I first peered into the hut, I'm sure that the Englishwoman was on this stool in the back of the hut here. Yes, the accuser's own testimony confirmed that. She just sat at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly, is what I have noted down. It's my turn to testify now. Try not to interrupt. Then the next moment, as I was watching, the evil student girl entered the hut. After a while, the pair of them ended up in the middle of the hut arguing furiously. The Englishwoman went for the student, but the girl dodged out of the way. And in a flash, plunged the knife into her adversary's back as if the two passed each other. What do you describe as a grim crime indeed? Never sugarcoat the truth. That's what many Menomoism says. Yay! We have the beach hut planned. By the way, Mini Memo-san, whilst you were watching the terrible scene unfold before your eyes through the gap in the screen, did it not occur to you to try to prevent the tragedy rather than capture it on film? Journals have to be observers. We can't get involved. That's our raison d'etre. So you didn't converse with Miss Brett at all? Obviously not. An observer always remains on the outside looking in. And that's something to be proud of, is it? Your Excellency, if I may? Yes, Professor? I think the witness's last expertly phrased statement should perhaps be added to his formal testimony. Father, what are you... I will grant the defense's request. Memo-san, you will supplement your formal testimony with the aforementioned statement. Well, nihilism is the foundation of Memoism, but I'll gladly prove that my words aren't meaningless. I never once set foot in the hut, nor spoke with the Englishwoman. I was only there as an observer. Oh boy. Think it's here, guys? Do you think this is the spot to present things? But what would it be? What would prove it? Never entered the thing. Only there as an observer. Maybe the fountain pen.
Objection!
Well, time to get to it. Time to get to work. Many Memo-san, until now I have had a firm belief that the newspapers are in business of uncovering and publishing the truth. Yep, here we go. You're spot on. The press doesn't lie, which is why I'm proud to wear the emblem of the Show You News on my arm. In a way, that's more Sadly, though, it seems the journalists who write for those papers don't always share the same passion for the truth.
What are you suggesting with those recriminatory words, Counsel? Many Memo-san, do you recognize this fountain pen? Arg. This pen was found at the scene of Miss Brett's death. In fact, the murdered victim was gripping it in her hand as she died. What are you? If you look at the barrel of the pen, you'll notice that its owner's initials are engraved there. R.M. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Counsel. The initials of the accused, Ray Membami. Is it a coincidence, I wonder, that your initials are also R.M.? No. Rayton Memni Memo, R.M. That's horse dung. Can't you see? One of the central tenets of Meni-Memoism is being a pencil user. And yet, as the court will clearly be able to see, on your right hand, there's a very obvious blue ink stain. It would appear that you must have rather carelessly left it somewhere recently. Your favorite fountain pen, that is. Horse dung. Meni-Memo-san, is it not the case that before she died, you met with Giselle Brett in that beach hut?
Objection!
Why should we listen to this absurd nonsense? It's nothing but another excuse. Exactly. Shoyu News will stand behind me all the way. I deny everything. There must be as many people with the initials RM as there are stars in the night sky. The defense has neither the time nor the inclination to count every star in the sky. And there's no need anyway, because this pen has more to tell. Yes, there's another clue. A clue that undeniably proves who its owner really is. In that case, Counsel, the defense will now show the court where this alleged clue lies. Of course, Your Excellency. The clue on the fountain pen that clearly reveals its owner's identity is the top of the pen here, as you can see, by its nothingness. No, it's the symbol here. As well as the initials, there are also an emblem on this fountain pen. An emblem that you will of course recognize, Meni-Memo-san. Goodness me, it's the emblem of the Shoyu News. In other words, the owner of this pen is an employee of the Shoyu News, whose initials are RM. Suddenly, the stars in the night sky don't seem so numerous, do they? Well, Meni-Memo-san, how do you respond? No! Order! Explain yourself, witness! So, this is how the mighty Supreme Court works, is it? Using coercive tactics to have well-meaning citizens reveal harmless secrets. I've used nothing but honest tactics. Alright then, fine. I won't try to hide it anymore. Yes, not long before that grim tragedy unfolded, I, a Shoyu News reporter on behalf of the public, conducted an interview with the Englishwoman. An interview? You never mentioned this before. When exactly was this? As I said, it was before that evil little student girl showed her face in the hut. It couldn't have lasted more than 2 or 3 minutes, that's all. It was just a brief exchange. But it came to nothing. As we Meni-Memos say, the people who don't pay their dues are for the people don't pay their dues for unworthy news. However insignificant you deem it to be, this court cannot overlook the meeting between yourself and the victim. We'll testify now under oath about the precise nature of the meeting and what transpired. Got it. Yes, all right, but on one condition. Condition? In all good conscience, I couldn't speak out alone about this. You need to call back the earlier witness, Soseki Natsume-san. Soseki-san? Oh yes, according to my notes here, that man has a secret of his own, and brace yourselves. Because it's not a harmless one. It's big. What? Minimemoism states that one man's secret is every other man's front-page story.
Very well, I will grant the witness's request in this instance. Are witnesses allowed to make requests like that? Or requests in general? On one condition, or conditions? Officer, summon the earlier witness back to the stand.
So Seki-san, hiding something?
Not usually.
So they can. For some reason.
Well, he's back.
I asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut without making a fuss. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running. Can I see something? I don't see a crack in the camera. So,
Never mind.
the detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help. That's when this writer man here asked out the woman a very significant question. But he didn't say anything about that in his testimony, which is why Minimemoism demands I reveal it now.
You mean to say the victim?
The victim regained consciousness?
Ah, well,
And when she did, you decided to ask her a question?
that's, true, yes.
He did, and that's not all. The woman gave him a very definitive answer. An answer that incriminates the accused. This is preposterous. Why am I only hearing about this now? Why didn't you mention this before, you yokel hack?
It wasn't even a conversation.
Yes, I did pose the withering English rose a question. I don't deny it, but she could no longer speak. She was barely conscious, even. Counsel for the defense, I expect a thorough cross-examination to be conducted here. The court must and will know the truth. Absolutely, Your Excellency. The report is claiming that Miss Brett implicated Ray somehow. What on earth could have happened in that hut?
Cross-examination.
Asked the Englishwoman for an interview, but declined. I left out without making a fuss.
Hold it!
You asked her for an interview, you say? Well, of course I did. I wanted to ask her about the incident which she was involved in at the end of last year. About the case in which John H. Wilson lost his life. That's not the way I phrased it. Minimemoism calls for straight talking. Why did you murder Dr. Wilson, is how I put it to her. Yes, that's sort of talking is as straight as a ruler. Ask every question as if you're asking for a menu in a restaurant, I'd say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that. And how did Miss Brett answer? With one simple phrase. Mystery is a woman's charm. Whew, that told me. So I waltzed right out of there. Really, something about that doesn't quite seem to fit together. Leave every room as if you're waltzing in a dance hall, I say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running.
Hold it!
That was very persistent of you, considering that Miss Brett had just turned you away. Persistence wins the prize. Any minimemoist will tell you that. Let them think you left, then just when they lower their guard, that's when you swoop in for the scoop. And the fruits of your labor are all too apparent in this telling photograph, though I'm sure the young yokel student would rather not be reminded of this damning evidence. Actually, it's thanks to that photograph that we managed to identify this witness. And now that you've found me, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I've got nothing to hide. I'm sure. Please, do go ahead, witness. The court is eager to hear what you have to say. Try to stop me. There's a story to tell here, and I'm going to tell it. The detective realized that the victim still had a pulse, so he ran off to fetch help.
Hold it!
And so Seki-san remained behind in the hut?
That's right. Yep, our author friend here
Was a blabbering wreck, shaking all over from his head to his toes, mustache twitching, eyes bulging. What do you expect? You don't know the terrifying troubles that taunted me whilst traveling abroad. Back behind painful bars. They'll be coming for me, surely.
That's all I could think. I felt as if I were gasping for air, drowning in a sea of cold sweat. Poor Soseki-san. His experiences in London have scarred him deeply. As the world seemed to close around me, I quietly recited a prayer to Amida Buddha. Eternal, emptiness, empty, eternity. The end is coming for me, surely. No sutras are to resound in my courtroom, please. And now we come to the crucial part. That's when it happened. That's when this writer man here asked the woman a very significant question.
Hold it!
What question? What exactly did he say? Well now, you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Writer Man? Arg! Out with it, you yokel hack. What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying Englishwoman? Well, in truth, I've been catching crabs at the water's edge and building castles in the sand, you see. Well, the seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then all of a sudden, from that little beach hut, young girls' panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air. Ray. I ran up the beach to see what was happening, to find the defendant leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as Inspector Host Sanaga saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan. A moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin! But what did you ask her, Soseki-san? I asked her, who did this to you? Don't protract this any longer. How did the woman respond? She didn't. She said nothing in response. But... When in the stand, you will answer the questions asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or reticence, I demand that you amend your testimony. I will! I asked her who did this to you, but she never replied.
Hold it!
So you tried to find out who the culprit was. He who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remain a fool forever. Having been labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever. However, you indicated that the victim failed to respond. Is that correct? I know why. I know why the Englishwoman said nothing. She was ignoring me because of my stupid mustache, because I'm Japanese. Oh dear, Soseki-san has really developed a dislike for the English, it seems. Having read the report on his time in Great Britain, I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia. But the Englishwoman did ignore you at all. Did she, Mr. Writer Man? Well, yes, alright. She did respond in a manner of speaking, I suppose. Lol. She just lifted a trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant.
Hold it!
Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant? Soseki-san, is that really true? It's not easy to stand here and say this, but when we first entered the beach hut, the Englishwoman was sprawled on the floor before us, with the student girl standing on the far side of her. And when I asked who did this to you, the Englishwoman summoned up her last ounce of strength to point a trembling finger at the back of the hut, which was, it can't be denied, in the direction of the student girl who stands accused today. No. Soseki-san, why on earth did you neglect to mention this in your original testimony? But, fiddlesticks, I say. This is not a British code of law. You will respond in Japanese. Yes, of course, the Englishwoman did point her finger toward the back of the hut. But I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And thinking about it, I feel as though perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly, in a very different direction, to where the student girl was standing. Somewhere at the back of the hut, where nobody was standing at all. You mean that your memory of events and the direction in which the victim was pointed are both unclear? Yes, that's it, unclear. And very, very unclear.
Attention!
Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt.
Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly, but there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of the assailant. Why? Because as the court can see, there was no one other than the accused in the direction of the victim was pointing. It is now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could possibly have committed this crime.
I'm inclined to agree, and in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial.
No! No!
The headline's writing itself. Dashing lawyers, hopes dashed, 92 point across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition. This is a serious blow, Susato. Unless we are able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence, the judge will give his ruling and the trial will be over.
But that's impossible, Father. We don't even know how the crime was committed yet.
Impossible through the test we seem. We have no choice. We must think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find the clue we need.
Ray gave us her account of how events unfolded in the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened at the precise moment Miss Brett was killed. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut listening to what I was saying, and then, a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet before she collapsed on the floor in front of me with a knife in her back. How could Miss Brett have been stabbed in the back in a beach hut that was empty but for herself and Ray? Somewhere amid the information we've gathered so far, there must be an answer to that question.
I take it then that the defense has nothing further to add.
So, the gallant yokel student's luck finally runs out. I can't say I'm surprised.
In that case, I am ready to deliver my final verdict on this matter.
This is a crucial turning point now. If I can't establish what really happened, it's over. Where was the real culprit hiding? And how did he or she stab the victim?
I don't know.
Objection!
Your Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being.
Oh? To what end, counsel?
The defense would like to present the court with an alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture.
Objection!
An alternate theory? None exists.
Objection!
There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime. What? And the victim, Miss Brett, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time by mustering all the remaining strength by pointing to a trembling finger in the killer's direction. This is fiction, fantasy.
Very well. As you seem so sure of yourself, counsel, I am prepared to hear your alternative theory. So, young Ryutaro Naruhodo.
Yes, Your Excellency. You will present your latest theory to the court by means of this plan. At the moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly are you proposing the culprit was concealed?
Where do you think, guys? Will confess, have no idea.
Can I view the court record? Not in the suitcase. In the dress, do you think? Or the table? Was he hiding in the table? Or the dress, rather? Let's do the dress, or behind the dress.
Take that!
The true culprit was in this area here. There, counsel. Behind the dress in the upper left. That's right, Your Excellency. I believe the culprit was hiding in the location I've indicated.
Why?
Oh, well, that's rather hard to say.
Clearly this particular theory needs no further consideration, given your wide-eyed look of alarm.
Okay, it's not that. Was he past the crap, by the way? Because look at this photo. It's past all of the bamboo crap.
Okay, I didn't mean to do it there. Okay, did I accidentally find it?
The true culprit was in this area here.
There, Counsel? Nope.
What about behind the walls? Pop the picture he took of her pulling the knife out if you can.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do before I accidentally did the thing. Right here, there's nothing like that indicates where exactly it was. And I just did behind the wall, so it's not there. Under the table, do you think?
Take that!
The true culprit was in this area here.
There, Counsel? Nope. Nope.
In this.
Nope. Again, I am not smart. I don't know. No idea.
The angle kind of indicates it. Hello, Estro Dude.
I take it you know this game well.
Look closely at the photo taken from the hut entrance.
Whereabouts should I look? Where should I look? Because I'm not seeing anything. That's a dress. That's the bag. He's not in the suitcase. Is there a shadow outside that we should be looking for? No.
The back wall, straight in front of you.
Oh, that little tiny bit there?
Is it that?
Oops. So, like, right here, would you say? Like, right at this section?
Take that!
Like, that's where the thing was before.
It's that dead center outside the left wall.
Alright, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Naruhodo-san would never give up, and I'm a Naruhodo right now. The true culprit was who fatally stabbed Miss Brett, was concealed in this location here.
Are you mad, Counsel?
You're suggesting that the culprit was outside the hut?
What? Astro Dude, please come to these streams every single time I stream this game. I beg of you. I need help on these games. I am not a smart person whatsoever. Clues would be the best here. Order, order, order!
But student lawyer Naruhodo-san Esquire, this makes no sense at all.
You've just pointed out the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap.
I didn't see any suspicious individuals loitering around. I can swear to that.
Obviously, if the culprit had been outside the hut,
there is no way that he or she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the hut.
Actually, Prosecutor Ouchie, there is a way.
And, in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence strongly suggesting that is precisely the way Miss Brett was killed.
You're bluffing. You're bluffing, you yokel.
Defense's assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You need to give us some more guidance, Counsel. What piece of evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut?
Once again, a no idea kind of thing. Maybe the picture? No, because we just proved that he was, or not proved, but maybe it's this.
Take that!
Okay, it is this. Then the original photograph print of the crime scene.
Yes, it's clearly visible in this print. The traces of fatal thrust that was delivered from outside the beach hut.
Attention!
Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of any such thing. I'm not sure that everyone present would agree.
Someone, at least, appears to have noticed what it is that I'm referring to. Counsel, once again I must call on you to be explicit for the court. Where this photograph is the trace of the stabbing, which you can claim took place from outside the hut. Save again.
The pen? Well, we have to prove the location. Right here. Right here! Look closely just here. In the screen at the back of the hut, you can see the effects of a blade having been forced through the reeds. No, I can't. I can't see any such thing. It's true that the hut in question has 4 walls, as you expect. However, by parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them. This is extraordinary. Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut. Ah! And of everyone present at the scene, there is only one person who could have done that. Only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brett was killed. Write-in many memo-san. It could only have been you. An extraordinary mess. Oh yeah, big mess. No!
Objection!
This preposterous idea leaves me almost speechless. Just look at the photograph again. The victim lies almost exactly in the center of the beach hut, does she not? Are we to assume, as part of the farcical scenario, that the assailant was a knife thrower?
Objection!
No, of course not. We're not? If you recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death, inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett, but she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable. A stool? Have another look at the photograph. They slit in the reed screen. Would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting on that stool. My word! So, in fact, the victim was killed while sitting on that stool by a stab wound to her back delivered through the reed screen. Oh. Having been attacked, Miss Brett rose to her feet instinctively, but then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut, before the defendant, Membambi-san's appalled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. By your silence, Memo-san, I take it that you don't deny the charge. This is absurd! That will do. It would appear that we have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of this matter, which means that the defendant, Membami-san, is innocent of the crime. Oh, thank goodness! I finally made them cave. I must say, I've never been more proud. No, this can't be. The Ouchi clan can't. What of my growth of hope? It wasn't all an apparition. I can't believe this. I won't. I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. I will therefore move to conclude the proceedings by delivering my... Tacit? Tacit? What does tacit mean? Yeah, we ain't done yet, guys. I had a feeling. Well, this is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom to speak and branding them as criminals. But you've established that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut through the reed screen walls. And no one but you was in a place at the time to have his hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction. So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the Englishwoman, does it? Well, it seems a little irrelevant now. Irrelevant? Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed, it doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. After all, the trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else.
tacit understood without being openly expressed implied. Tacit understood without being openly expressed implied. Is it still bad that I don't know what, like what's being said here? Is that, like, bad, guys? What are you talking about? Brace yourself, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because of the dirt you dug up. What? I think I'm more trying to understand why tacit is being said here in this point in time. Tacit means you don't have to say it out loud for people to know what you're saying. I guess, but why was it, like, said here at the time? Why am I reading this confusing word at this point in time? The judge said tacit. I didn't even remember he said that word. Whoops. What? Enough obscurity. Explain yourself, witness. What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course. And you read tactic? Evidently because you mispronounced it, no big deal. Gotcha. The poison? Let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation. Shall we? I understand that a deadly poison you were developing was stolen from your laboratory, correct? And it's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that correct? Is that right? That is correct. The unusual construction of the victim's pupils are a sure sign that this particular poison was used. I see. So, presumably that means that this victim already has the poison in her body before she was stabbed. Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she has been dead already, the poison cannot have circulated in her blood. Tisk, haha. How refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan mind. Precisely. It matters not a jot who stabbed whom and whose back and with whose blade. Because, quite simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken not by the knife, but by the poison.
Objection!
Suicide? I hugely doubt it. But that can be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already...
Objection!
Forgotten already, have we, yokel? During these very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor at your side assisting in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever. So let me get this down. The facts, as skillfully established by the defense in this trial, turned out to be a headline-making red herring. Is that about right? Well... Order. But where does this leave us? I must have the wrong judge voice. However, in that case, did the poison enter the victim's body? There's an undeniable, obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it. You mean she drank it? Have another look in the photograph here, as you can see. A bottle of carbonated water and a glass had been knocked onto the sandy floor of the beach hut. The poison could have slipped into either. So somebody made Miss Brett drink it. Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This will make a great front page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, it's been established already.
Hold it!
Established? What are you talking about? Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given that the person who established it was you. Me? What on earth does he mean? Oh, let me capture those wide eyes. This is prime press fodder, this is. It would seem that this trial is not destined to end yet after all. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony. That's great, that is. Let me get a shot of that magnificent beard, Your Excellency. You claim it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administering the poison to the victim. You'll explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you make such a claim. I'm a journo and I'm a man. I've never tried to run or hide from anything in my life. And I'm not about to start now, because that, many memoism,
For a brief moment, I thought I'd illuminated the truth, but it slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where is this trial going to take us?
This guy really admires Susato's face, huh?
I know, right? Sure does. Oh yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman, and it's the very fact that proves I'm innocent. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I'd already poisoned her? When I heard the student girl and the pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat. If the courts weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, someone else would have to see justice done. So, you admit it then? That everything happened as I described? That you are the one who stabbed Miss Brett in the back through the reed screen? You can blame this miserable country of ours. A country that bows to the pressure of foreign powers and lets murderers walk free? What kind of future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I did what our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Stop slap banging in the middle of that charming lady's back. I plunged the blade of sweet justice right in there. Would he be in trouble for that? Someone should arrest him, maybe.
He should still face charges, right, please?
Yeah, what the heck? As someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told, I feel really, really awful about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got her to her before me.
He basically just admitted guilt.
Okay, time to arrest. But it's not over, though. That's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl, now there's a woman after my own heart. You're implicating Ray again. She is the one who gave the poison to the Englishwoman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap, this journo here is off the hook. The argument is sound, certainly. If the witness had administered the poison himself, he need only have waited for it to take effect. Subsequently, stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical. And therefore, this reporter had nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's all quite logical. That's right, it is. Logical and true. I'm glad you've all seen the light. Justice at last. This is unbelievable. And after I'd made so much progress in proving his guilt, is he going to get away with it now? Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san. They never stop looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel. Very well then, counsel. Proceed with what I assume to be your final cross-examination in this trial. Yes, Your Excellency. Cross-examination. Oh yes, I stabbed the Englishwoman, and that is the very fact that proves I'm innocent.
Hold it!
So, you do admit that you had murderous intentions toward Miss Brett, then? Ha! The woman's very existence offended my sense of justice. Your sense of... he's claiming some sort of righteous indignation? Since she was pure evil, a cold-blooded killer who committed a murder right here on our empire's soil. But did our good-for-nothing government do anything? Not a chance, so I had to step in. Fly the flag of justice, put things right for the people. Yes, it was my civic duty, that's what drove me to do it. So, in summary, murderous intentions then. Whatever you want to call it, the point is this. The Englishwoman was a blight. So I had to do what was right for society. Yet a real wrong was done by the student girl in the dock, a crime for which she must pay. Obviously, because the poisoning was nothing to do with me at all. Because why? I would have bothered to stab a woman if I had already poisoned her.
Hold it!
But you still maintain that you didn't give the poison to the victim. Obviously, that'd be like putting a belt on your trousers when you're already wearing braces like these. The accused administered the poison, following which the witness was stabbed the victim. An unforgivable act, certainly, but not one of murder. That crime rests on the accused's shoulders. That is how the law works. You see, yokel. Who knows? You may even learn something here today. 2 consecutive attempts on her life in the space of minutes. Quite a day for the victim. Do something that evil and you've got it coming. That's how the law works, the law of reckoning. That's not the kind of law this court upholds. You will reiterate why you were compelled to stab the victim, then, witness. When I heard the student girl and the pompous English murderer arguing, I got my goat. Well, guys, I'm looking at the time, and it's already 3. So I'm gonna save it right here, and tomorrow, when I next stream this game, we'll figure out how to get this guy accused. So, get ready for a long playthrough. I might set up my title as Might Need Clues or Help. Please come to stream. But yeah, hope you guys deal with me the best you can. And I'll see all of you tomorrow for some, hey Yuki-an, good morning and good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Be well, guys. I love you all. Bye-bye.